You're listening to the Pittsburgh Piledriver.
What the hell is that?
Podcast.
Hello, everybody. What a tumultuous 3 weeks it's been. We haven't had a show in 2 weeks. This is the third week, and we're firing on all Dick cylinders. Welcome to the Dick Driver Dick cast, because guess what? Wrestlers can't keep their dicks to themselves, so now wrestling has turned into the sports entertainment of dicks. So this is where we are, and this is what we have to talk about. Just dicks. Dicks everywhere. TNA dicks, NWA dicks, WWE dicks, NXT dicks, Dick City. Oh, this is going to be the worst show ever. So much dick. We are going to be joined a little bit later by Tripod Bomb Tom. Speaking of dicks, we're also going to be joined a little bit later by Poot the Bard, the silver-tongued man who will make anyone's dick move. I'm telling you, people, it's all about dicks. As of right now, we've got Beef the Legend, who's couldn't get his dick outlawed in any of the 50 states in the United States. That's how terrible he is at dicks. And you've got Alec Ransom, and the only trouble I'm going to get in is being a dick. My dick ain't getting me in no trouble. So, Beef, why the hell can't wrestlers keep their dicks to themselves? This is the biggest fucking dick outrage that has ever happened publicly in wrestling that I know about. You know much more about the wrestlings. Is this like the first big dick allegation that's come about?
Is this our Dickisode?
This is the Dickisode. Shout out to Aqua Teen Hunger Force, Dickisode.
Dicking around, are they? So
what's this called? Is this have an official title? Is this a gate or a movement or a something, or is it?
The Speak Out movement.
That's what this is called now. This is
yes.
Okay.
Yes.
So we've officially got a label for this bullshit, and it's the Speak Out movement. It's everybody talking about how everybody else is just dicking them over. People showing dicks, people touching dicks, people giving dicks. It's Dick City.
Getting dick down, you know.
Yeah, Dick Van Dyke. Oh, boy.
As usual, we're late to the news cycle. You know.
Well, we've been off the air for 2 weeks. Don't worry about it. We've been playing with our dicks.
The Pittsburgh Piledriver podcast summer vacation. Just kidding. No one can do anything anywhere.
COVID 2020.
So, to answer your question, I mean, you know, there have been...
No, tell me.
That's what I'm telling you. There have been... Well, that's a segue, man. That's how I...
Oh, see, I apologize. I'm just being a dick. I apologize.
Well, how fucking awesome for the episode. You've brought it all together. Anyway, so the you know, this is something, and you know, we're probably gonna circle back around to it because, you know, fucking Tripod and fucking Poot the guy, they're gonna sponsor in and be like, hey, did you guys talk about all the dicks? And we're like, yeah, man. You guys are late to the Dickisode.
Hey, guys, you talk about all the dicks? We did.
Yeah, man.
2,300 dicks.
Try not to suck any dick on the way to the parking lot.
What was that from? Come on.
Clerks, man.
Damn it, that's right. Oh.
What a fucking great movie. I
apologize for not knowing that. Who cares? This is the Dickisode. Don't worry about it.
It is the Dickisode. So, I mean...
So where did all this start? Can you take me back?
Thousands of years ago, before the dawn of Hogan as we knew him.
Brother.
So
that was
this
a good
is
one.
something...
I like that one. Good job.
Thanks, man. I try to pull it together when I can. So like this has been something that's been kind of like on the hush hush, you know, the fucking boys, you know, it's
wrestling.
It is wrestling through and through. I liken wrestling a lot to NASCAR because
there are a lot of dicks in NASCAR. Or?
Well, I mean, there's a lot of man whores in NASCAR, but that's irrelevant.
Okay.
There are a lot of similarities, minus the three teeth having hicks in the mountains that watch both sports.
Wow.
You know, for years and years and years, you know, both have been clinging to the word sport unreliably, and both are like, you know, the good old boys club, you know, something that was founded by men, for men, with men, you know. So the last 5 years of sweeping change with all the women getting the limelight has been certainly a welcome change. But
put your feminist pants away and tell me how this started.
Well, I mean, there's no like one like patient zero. There's no like, you know.
It's got to be traced to somewhere. It was Sonny and Bret Hart. Or Shawn Michaels.
I don't think it was Sonny and I mean all of them. Sonny was a whore. Don't she was Sonny. She was though. So
we're gonna be defunded.
But, I mean, you know. Oh yeah. Well, fuck all the $0 we're making. Shit.
Son of a bitch.
What we do.
All right, so
you know, but this
all started because what? People couldn't. Wrestlers were dicking.
Yeah.
And women be like, "Hey, stop that."
And I mean, you know, you can't go a lot in a lot of sports and find guys that are like actually genuinely good guys. First of all, genuinely good guys don't really exist too often. But whenever you add, you know, stardom, quote unquote stardom to them, and you know, money, then, you know, they start fucking walking around like they got, you know, long John Silver in their fucking pocket. And,
so there's been what? There's been a shit long list.
Oh
how many
God.
people?
So
how
many?
Do you have any idea?
It's mostly UK. It's mostly UK. I think the list was up to like 50 or 60 at one point.
Holy balls!
It's a lot. And so here's the thing.
So hold on. Were all of these things happening in the UK? Or were they happening with NXT UK guys in the States?
No. In the UK for the most part, but don't like believe that it's just a UK issue, because it's not.
No, definitely not.
It's just.
I mean, what? Joey Ryan was on that list.
Right. Well, and I mean, like I mean,
that's his gimmick though. Like he wrestles with his dick. How is he not going to be on that list? It's
right, exactly. Like this is his time to shine. In a terrible sense. So like, you know, it feels like there's a more nurturing scene in the UK as people, so they have more freedom to speak out. Don't think for a fucking second that people like Ricky Morton and fucking like Ric Flair weren't doing this shit in the States, because like that shit is fucking prevalent through the sport. It's just that we're finding out about the UK stuff now. But no, this has been happening for, you know, as long as there's been wrestlers. Fucking sleazy guys hanging out in a gym, wrestling. You know, guys bring their wives to the matches. The wrestler, like, spots the fucking dime, and he's like, hey, we got to get this one in the back. And so, like, you know, they bring in, you know, fucking Susie Homemaker and her little boy, and they, you know, fawn over the little boy and give him autographs and everything. Meanwhile, you know, Susie's off getting fucking dick somewhere. So, like, this is that old. I mean,
let me ask you this. Hold on.
Yes.
I want to get to some detail here and not just a vague, brief overview. Hold on, I'm taking a drink. Stand by.
Standing by.
Delicious. Now, since you're more plugged into all this, all these dicks, has there been any rape allegations, like straight up rape, or has it all been general inappropriate activity? There's no defense on my end coming. I'm asking, is that like, have people been accused of rape, or is it like, hey, this guy like talked me into doing something, and you know?
Yeah, it's mostly sexual assault-ish.
Oh dear.
Like nothing like super rapey. Oh yeah. But like, you know, a lot of gray area. Marty Scurll's a good one. That there's a pretty big gray area surrounding his thing. Like, okay, she was underage, she was super drunk, but at the same time, like, yeah, you know what? Like, he didn't fucking force feed her those drinks. He didn't roofie her. He didn't, you know, make her suck his dick. Those are all suggestions by him. But you know, at any point she could have turned around and said, well, you know what? You know, it's the age-old argument. You know, the you know, are they putting themselves in harm's way? Are they, you know, like, and I don't want to get into the whole, you know, she had it coming, because that's not a fucking thing. Like, that is not a fucking thing.
No.
But at the same
so
time,
when it boils down to it, is it one of those, like, bad decisions were made by both parties and one party should have known better? You know, like if one party was inebriated, the party that was sober probably should have been like, she is a little drunky. Right. This might not be the best decision, but poor decisions were made.
Right.
So let's talk about some of these people that have been accused. You mentioned Marty Scurll.
Right.
What was his deal? It was a 16-year-old girl and she was drunk.
Yeah, so she was a ring rat, to use the parlance of the time. She basically was around the business growing up. Her father was a referee, and she was, constantly at the different shows and what have you, and always at the after parties and whatever. So she was always in, quote unquote, the position to have that happen to her. And again, I'm not saying, she shouldn't have been there. But at the same time, like, you got to know, excuse me, like, you have to be very fucking careful sometimes. Like, you have to know the caliber of the people that you are hanging out with and, like, what is possible with them. So, like, I don't, it's, his is exceptionally murky, but there's, like, a lot of bad stuff that's happening. And there's, like, there are pages and pages of specifics that I didn't read because, I'll be honest, it's fucking horrifying. I don't need to see that fucking gory detail. I know that Matt Riddle was accused, and he recently came out here, I think just the other day, and, basically said that she was just upset because he called off their affair.
So wasn't there a different story surrounding his? I think, didn't I read somewhere where, like, she had stalked him?
Yes.
Oh, pardon me. Like, he called, like, they were doing something. He called it off, and she started stalking him.
Right. And that's plausible. And that's where you got to be super, super careful with this, because yes, you want to believe all these women because it's tough. We know as a society it's tough for anybody to come out and say that, because there's always going to be that guy that's like, oh, she's lying. Like, there's always going to be that misogynistic asshole that fucking ruins it for everybody.
Sure.
But at the same time, there's always going to be people who are like, oh, this could be my chance to make a dime. So, I mean, the problem is with this kind of stuff is that it's not going to lead to a lot of legal indictments. It could potentially in some situations, but in a lot of situations, it's, too old, or, too much time has passed if there's no physical evidence.
Yeah, or there's too much
that.
He said, she said.
Right, exactly. So, like, this is not going to go to, like, a court of law. And, I mean, there's really not... I don't want to say there's not a reason for it to, but, like, a lot of the women that are doing this are not saying, I'm going to take them to a court of law. A lot of women are just doing it to make others feel comfortable, which is great. And we should 100% support that culture. If shit has happened to you,
yeah, man,
please don't be afraid to say it, because that's how people get the gumption to be able to stand up. But at the same time, right, exactly. So and that's how you change. And I truly think that this will so.
Focus.
Sorry, I had to grab a drink.
Reel it in. Focus.
Wrestlers have been philanderers for fucking years and years and years. Stories of Hogan and Savage getting all coked up and doing shit. And, fucking Macho Man now and Stephanie McMahon before she was 18.
Allegedly.
Allegedly, yeah. I mean, the whole fucking Sunny thing with Bret Hart and HBK, and the fucking list goes on. Batista, Melina, etc. Like, wrestlers are just philanderers. And I mean, to be fair, we're not there. When you're away from your spouse, so we are good men. We are good God-fearing men. We, are loyal to a fucking fault, even when one of us pisses the other one off so fucking much that they spear them to a chair. We are.
I think that was more alcohol related.
That's also true. Like, we are good fucking people. So, like, I don't think that this really applies to us, says the man from the high tower. But, when you're on the road and you don't see your spouse for fucking 250 days a year, like that's gotta be tough. That's gotta be tough on a fucking relationship. Fucking blames on them for even having a relationship to begin with, where the wife is at home. Look at Bray Wyatt and JoJo, where they, basically JoJo wrecked his home. That's something that's still fucking happening. So, like, wrestlers are known philanderers. This is just, like, the shadowy side of it. And like I said, it exists. It is a real fucking thing that exists in the UK, obviously. And I know that there are fucking hordes of women in the US that have stories that won't say it because of all the shit that's going on in the world, in this country, that really could have capitalized on this movement but didn't for whatever reason.
Well, do you think that maybe since so many people have spoken out about it, do you think maybe that opens the door?
I'm hoping, but
you would have to think that after all of this, even if there's nothing legally that's happening, there's no indictments, there's no, even if it ends with people just coming out and saying, hey, this happened, even if it ends there, you would have to think that with the amount of spotlight that this has drawn to the negative side of the wrestling business, that someone somewhere in charge of some company is going to start to say, okay, we as a company are going to start reeling it in. Like, we're going to, maybe put like a morality clause in, like we got to do something.
Well,
I would think that it would spur some sort of change.
So NXT is basically on like double secret probation right now. NXT UK, that is, where they're still a brand. Whenever the COVID ends, they're still going to come back. But like a lot of guys, like Joe Coffey, he's one of the ones that's been, on the not on the outs, but he's a guy that's been suspended formally. They let 2 referees go. They let Ligero go, Jack Gallagher, and the Kiwi Buzzsaw Travis Banks because of his allegations. So now
some people have lost jobs over this.
Oh yeah. Now here's the question, and I think of this in any sport, really, because it's all about how you play. The receiver that's chalking up 1,200 yards a season. If he's in a domestic battery incident, he's not going to get cut. He's going to get reprimanded. He's going to get suspended. He's going to bide his time. And as long as there's not any other problems, he's going to be fine on the same team. But if you're a guy who makes maybe 150 catches or 150 yards the whole season, like, your ass is done. Like, you're on the plane home. Good luck finding another job. Same thing here. Ligero and Travis Banks are 2 guys who are on the bottom end of the card. Banks had a little bit of an ascension as of late, but like Joe Coffey's a main event guy. He's the head of Gallus. He's a big name in the UK. So like him being suspended and not fired, but the other 2 were fired. Like, to me, the color gray. No, that's bad. That's a bad example. The color orange is the color orange is the color orange. It doesn't matter what the allegation is, what the severity of the allegation is. Like, if you're going to take it seriously enough to fire 2 people over it, then fucking make it across the board, or, suspend them across the board. I think that that's very unjust, and I got no problem with Joe Coffey. He's a great worker, and I didn't look into so much of his shit. And WWE has the power of like a million suns, to where they can do a lot of research very, very quickly and see how in deep some of the stuff is.
So you're saying it should be the same punishment across the board. Doesn't matter if you're a main eventer or a curtain jerker or
for sure.
Bottom of the barrel.
I think the problem is though, right? Yeah, but I think the problem is though is that I think that WWE is eyeing up, like they're really getting into it, and the ones that are, shall we say, more questionable, are being treated differently than those that aren't. And that's fair. That's fair. Like, WWE has their process, and they had their big fucking call here, conference call, last week, 2 weeks ago, where everybody thought they were going to, Right. Yeah. Well, everybody thought they were going to can UK. That was not the case. They just told them that that it is a fucking zero tolerance now. Zero tolerance. Like, it doesn't matter if the allegations are fucking, like, you know, legit or absolutely farcical. Like, don't put yourself in that situation. And that I agree with. Like, if you're and that's fine. Like, I think that these measures should have been in place a long time ago, but now that we're on fucking zero tolerance mode, and I think it should go for everybody, not just the UK. I think that if, you know, your name is being sullied about with, you know, being that kind of a person, see you later. We don't need you. But I mean, you know, the WWE's not going to cut a guy like Randy Orton.
No, I mean, look how many times he's gotten busted for the wellness policy.
To be fair, he has turned his life around a lot in the last, like, 15 years.
Sure.
So, like,
oh yeah.
He sowed his wild oats, and he's calmed down quite a bit. But, like, you know, Randy Orton could fucking kill a guy, and Vince would be like, well, we're not gonna let you go, but we're gonna make you a fucking producer. We're gonna take you off TV for 3 years, whatever.
Oh, no way. Vince would bail him out of jail, and he'd be on Raw the next night.
Just like fucking Snuka.
Yeah.
I mean, and just because, you know, now there's that air of competition, I don't think AEW would touch these guys. And I think that AEW has handled their situations very well. Jimmy Havoc was very much involved. He was cited with, like, not just, like, the sexual assault, but, like, mental abuse, physical abuse, things like that.
Really?
They didn't fire him. They didn't fire him, but he's on leave. I think that they're probably still mulling their options over.
Okay.
Sammy Guevara thing, like, that thing, like, went real. That thing burned real hot and real fast, and they took care of it immediately. You know, that clip of him saying that he, you know, wanted to rape Sasha Banks, and then like, AEW, I think, like, hours later was like, nope, he is being indefinitely suspended. And we're gonna get him some help, and that's how it should be. So I don't think, like, Tessa Blanchard's floating around out there now. She's out of Impact officially, which is a fucking crazy situation. But
now refresh my memory again. What happened with her?
She has been known to be a well-known bully, as well as a racist. Calling the one wrestler the N-word and spitting on her. So, yeah. So, like, she's out there floating around. Impact just had enough of her shit, which, you know, maybe that was her fucking goal, was to get out of her contract, whatever. But
so they fired her because of what she's done? No.
So Tessa Blanchard was the Impact champion. She was the Impact heavyweight champion.
Right.
And she was scheduled, so her contract was coming up later this fall, or later this summer / fall anyway. She was scheduled to defend the title at Slammiversary, and she lives in Mexico. Well, you know, COVID. So, like, they're like, all right, we're going to do what we can to get you here for the pay-per-view. Just send us some fucking vignettes. Like, tape a promo and send it to us. And she didn't. So they said it's not worth the fucking trouble, and, you know, send us back the title, and we'll go from there. And yeah, so she's floating around out there. I don't think AEW is going to touch her. For one, I think AEW is interested in building their own stars in the women's division, which they're doing a magnificent job of. Yeah. With Nyla Rose, Hikaru Shida, Britt Baker, and Penelope Ford. You know, they're doing fucking gangbusters. Why upset the apple cart? Yeah. And B, like, Tony Khan is a fucking great judge of character. Like, it seems like they run a very tight ship, and you know, they know what the fuck they're doing. So, like, if there's some shady shit in someone's past that could potentially come out, they're probably going to be knowing about it, and they're probably going to be avoiding it. And that's why, like, you know, we've said about it a couple times about how the locker room culture has changed. It's gone from being a boys' club where, you know, it's the boys and you know, like, there's a fucking locker room code, and, you know, you have to respect people and this, that, and the other thing, and you know, you would haze people and poop in their bags and things like that. You know, that has all changed now to where it's a very, I won't say individualistic culture, but they just kind of hang out, you know, like they sit in the back and they play video games, or, you know, they fucking hang out. No one's pissing with each other anymore. No one's fucking going through that ritual, you know, humiliation, as it were. So I think that this had started probably with like the New Day coming to prosperity, and about the same time the Bucks and Omega were really getting big in Japan. Like, these guys are so selfless and caring, as odd it is to say, that they're really kind of spurring the locker room change, which for the better. So, but I mean, like, yeah, this is just stuff that's been simmering for fucking 15, 20, 30, 50 years and just bubbling up. Don't be surprised if we haven't heard the end of it. You know.
Yeah, I'd be surprised if it was over.
And you know, to be fair, the a lot of promotions in the UK are shutting down because of this, because a lot of promoters were like sleazeballs with it. So, like, you know, there is some justice to it. You know, I mean, I guess that we don't get to decide that. I guess the victims get to decide if that's justice enough for them or not. But you know, so it's not like there hasn't been ramifications, and
right.
A lot of these guys are being blacklisted. So we'll see. I mean, so, you know, talking again about Marty, because he's the one that I really was kind of paying attention to a lot. He came out with this big Twitter post saying about, you know, how people need to stop attacking his accuser, that she has her right to, you know, speak out, and if she was uncomfortable, that's her, you know, that's her fucking feeling. She has the right to it, and it's valid. While he thought it was consensual, yes, underage, so yeah, he's a fucking sleazeball. But, like, you know, like, well, and she wasn't even underage in Britain, but I mean, you know, it's a pretty hefty age difference between him and her.
So that's worth pointing out.
Right.
His
yeah, exactly.
transgression took place in England?
Right, in the UK, where the age of consent is, I think, 16, and she was 17 at the time.
Okay.
She was drunk, but again, you know, like, nobody put the fucking bottle in her hand and said, hey, Pitt will be here at 8:30, so there's that.
Good.
But
whoops, that's a little past time.
Yeah, right.
Daisy.
So, you know, I don't want to play favorites just because I like Marty Scurll. I don't want to just give him the benefit of the doubt. Like, but I mean, like, he's saying and doing all the right things. So, you know, at the end of the day, unfortunately, this does fall in that realm of he said, she said, you know, because, again, we're fucking years past it. But there is a lot of hard evidence surfacing, like with the Jimmy Havoc thing. A girl posted, like, the pictures of the abuse, allegedly, that he did to her.
Oh, boy.
The Cornette thing, like, you know, the guy posted the pictures of Cornette's wife trying to groom him. So, like, you know, there is evidence out there, but again, you know, like, this is a weird thing because it's not, like, super litigious, and I don't know. We'll see. Like I said, I'd be shocked if it's over. We may just be in, like, the eye of the storm, as it were. But yeah,
I'd be surprised if it was over. I think this is going to open up the door, and if it's happening a lot, and if it's prevalent, I think you're going to see a lot of stuff come out. And here's the problem. Now, this is a tricky road to navigate.
Yeah, it is, because you don't want to sit there and speculate and like, you know, call people out, but at the same time, it's like, you know, it's fucking happening. So
yeah, but there has to be. I think companies are going to have to be leery on what they're doing as far as suspending people. I don't think you can have a hard fast rule that says, well, if you're accused of something, wham, immediately suspended. Because there has to be, and I say has to be, which there doesn't have to be, because I don't know shit. I don't run any companies. But in my opinion, there needs to be an atmosphere of innocent until proven guilty. Just because someone comes out on Twitter and says like, "Oh, hey, I was having an affair with this person, and it was they broke up with me or got me drunk or blah blah blah," it could be legit, but then again, it could be a scorned ex.
Mm-hmm.
So I think companies are going to have to be careful when they say like, "Oh, someone accused you of improper doing, we're going to immediately suspend you," because I think that could open them up to lawsuits potentially.
Mm-hmm.
Especially if it comes back out and is proven like, oh, nothing really happened. This person was just jaded.
Like the Johnny Depp Amber Heard thing, where everybody was so quick to fucking jump on Amber Heard's side, and then fucking like a week later, we're like, oh shit, she was the monster. Okay.
Yeah. So while I'm not in the slightest promoting not believing victims, because that's not right. That's wrong. There has to be some sort of process where companies go, okay, you've been accused of X. We need to do some sort of investigating and figure out, are you guilty of X? Are you guilty of Y? Or are you completely innocent of this and it's a scorned X for whatever the reason may be? Because I'd hate to see someone in a bad relationship, bad on regardless of whose side it is, and bad in a number of different senses. Bad as in a bad call, bad as in, well, maybe you're engaged/married and you're getting a piece on the side. Not illegal, no. A bad decision, yes. But that should be between you and your spouse. That shouldn't be between you and your company. But then again, I guess, doesn't the military have some sort of fraternization policy or adultery policy or something? So, I guess companies can make that up and say, like, look, if you're married and you get caught fooling around with somebody else, we can do whatever we want to you. I mean, if you're working for a private company, they can say that. They can have those policies, just like the NFL did.
We had in one of my intro to ed classes, we had like a sit down like powwow that was like, listen, as teachers, you're going to be held to a higher standard. The community is going to view you as like a pillar of the community. Mm-hmm. So you can't be out there getting sloshed at the bar every single night. You can't be out there posting these racy things on Facebook. You can't be doing this, and this. Which is true to an extent. Now, I mean, well, I'm not going to go there. It's true to an extent. Every community is a little bit different of what they'll tolerate.
Yes.
But and employers 100% have that right to fire you on a lot of grounds. Now it is then your right to then say, okay, I feel like the firing was unjust rather, and take up arms yourself. So that could be. It's very clear to me that
well,
look who showed up.
I know, right? It's clear to me. Go ahead.
Listen, you can go ahead and throw all the shade you want at this guy. He's had a hell of a week.
I don't think anybody was throwing shade anywhere. What were you saying, Pete?
No, I was just saying that it's clear to me that WWE has protocols in place for this now, to where, like I said, and I think that they did from the start-ish, i.e., like that's why they were so quick to let Gallagher, Ligero, and Travis Banks go like that. But they were a lot softer on Joe Coffey and Matt Riddle. Like they didn't immediately jump. So I think that there are some inner machinations out there that are in place. But
I feel like the machinations in place for the Coffey and Riddle situation is, number one, with Riddle, as things are developing with his situation. Number one, very publicly, he was like, I made a stupid decision. And my wife knows about it, and we're working on it, and, my behavior was unacceptable. However, now I'm being stalked, and someone saw their opportunity. Like, he's been being stalked, and I'm sorry if I'm reiterating anything that was already said.
No, you're good, man. You're good.
But it's the fact that that's a different situation than the situation that happened with Cornette and his wife. Well, no, completely different situation. No, absolutely different situation, because it was Riddle making a decision that was not something that was come to amicably or at the same time or anything. Regardless, my point with this was Riddle came out and he's like, fine, I'll fight fire with fire. And he laid everything bare. What does he have to hide now? Now he's pointing out, I've had to change my number. This person showed up at my hotels. They found me other ways on social media after I blocked them. Like, they are relentless with me. What am I to do now? This, for Riddle, it's been something that's been done for a long time. No, I wouldn't even go so far as to say a long time. Listen, we can play word salad and throw those phrases at the end of any sentence. But my point is, with word
salad.
Yeah, word salad. The thing is, Riddle is being open and honest and forthright and forthcoming with everything. And it's like, I mean, he's talking about this with nothing to hide. And this person tried to glom on to a movement of actual victims.
Right.
And that is just as wrong. And as far as and again, I don't victim shame here. Did you guys hear the story about Keith Lee?
No.
So in a nutshell, you have to go read it. Check out Keith Lee's Twitter, I think is where he put it. Keith Lee, in an act of solidarity, talked about a night that he was made to do things he didn't want to do. Now, it was outside of the wrestling business, but it was him saying this can happen to anyone.
Mm-hmm.
He basically was denying the advances of a woman at a bar, and he at some point had something slipped into his drink, and he doesn't remember a lot of the night and woke up in a hotel.
Oh my goodness.
Yeah. So it's one of those things that it can happen to anyone at any given time.
Yep.
And it was that can be a very emasculating thing to come forward and talk about something like that happened for a guy, let alone for a woman. I mean, like, all these women that are coming forward, I give them all the credit in the world for standing up for themselves. But at the same time, when you have a situation like Matt Riddle, now there's a gray area. But going even further digressing, with Joe Coffey and Riddle, I think the reason they weren't so pull the trigger now, shoot first, ask questions later with releasing them is because, in all fairness to those other three talents that Beef had mentioned, Joe Coffey and Matt Riddle are a little more valuable.
Yep, and I mentioned that as well. That, but at the same time, like, is that fair? Like, I think that it needs to be hard and fast across the board. Like, if you fuck up, you fucked up. Now, again, Riddle's situation is different because there is a lot of, like, gray area in that. But at the same time, like, if I don't know, man.
I need to ask a question.
All right.
What was the Matt Riddle situation? Did he basically just cheat on his wife? Was it consensual on both sides? Or did he date rape somebody?
That's what he's saying, is that it was 100% consensual, and this lady's just trying to get back at him for ending the relationship. She's been stalking him for years, and now this is just her, like, foot in the door, try to, like, ruin his life.
And her side is what? What's she saying?
I don't know. To be honest with you,
like, I'm not trying to get into an argument of who's right and who's wrong. I'm trying to understand exactly what that situation is because I didn't read up on it.
I don't. I mean, and that's how murky it is. Like, I haven't really heard what she's trying to say.
Well, she's trying to say that there was, like, a van ride that they were on, that he forced her to do things with him in the van, and, like, basically she's. I would say, because, and I have my go-rounds with people who play the victim all the time. When they're really good at spinning stories that happened, but making it so that they are not compliant with them. Like they did them, and at the time, they were completely consensual and, ooh, this is fun. I'm having a great time. Whatever. But then on the opposite end, but then after the fact, when they see an opportunity like this, they spin it so that they're like, well, I didn't really want to do it, but he made me. Or they say, well, I wanted to do it because I was under duress or whatever. Not saying now, just saying that's how the mind of someone who is not the victim but plays the victim acts. Right.
You're not accusing this woman of anything. You're just saying, you're just spinning a yarn here of like that people can do that. My thing with Riddle is if, yes, my thing with the Riddle situation is if he can prove that she's been stalking him, I would have to feel like, yeah, things are a little bit more on his side. Because if you're trying to get justice, I don't know that you'd be stalking the person. I think you'd be speaking out against them, yes. But showing up at their hotel room, harassing them on social media, getting their phone number and calling them, that, in my opinion, again, my opinion doesn't mean shit. I don't own a company. I'm not involved in this situation. I'm just saying, from the outside looking in, if I were on a jury and I heard this, it would sway my opinion more to siding on the side of Riddle, saying, okay, did he make a bad decision within the confines of his marriage? Yes. Did he force this woman into something? I'm leaning more towards probably not, because she began to stalk him after he broke it off. You see what I'm saying?
Yep.
Now, I'm sure that's not what's happened in the majority of these. I'm sure in the majority of these, yes, sleazy wrestlers being sleazy, doing sleazy things, and now those sleazy things are coming to light. I think in the majority of them, probably that's happened. But the Matt Riddle case, I believe, is, that's between him and his wife. And, he's working it out with her and so forth. So I can see why he's not being punished. I guess you can see my air quotes I'm doing. I'm punished. Probably because there's enough evidence to say, like, well, something's questionable here.
And the whole thing is just super murky. Like, we're not trying to accuse anybody. We're not saying, we think
it's a shit situation.
It is.
I mean, many of this is coming out. Like, it's shitty all around. It's shitty for the wrestling business. It's shitty for the people that have had inappropriate things done to them.
Yep.
It's shitty for the fans because, we talk about this product. Hell, we do a fucking podcast about this, and now look at all the shit that's coming out about the business that we're doing this damn podcast about. Like, it's it's bad all around. It's disappointing in humanity is what it is.
Dude, well, and this, like I said, I've told so many people, 2020 will not stop. This year is relentlessly bad. It's seriously is like, I think what we need to do to fix all of this? We need one day where every human being in the world, every single one, is not allowed to say out loud, well, how could it possibly get worse?
I think the Mayans got it wrong. I don't think it was 2012 where shit was supposed to end. I think it's 2020. I think by December of this year, the sun's gonna be, beating down on top of us. We're all gonna be cooked. Shit's gonna happen. Earthquakes, fucking Yellowstone's going up. We're gonna be fucking swimming in lava.
Yes, my documentary. So
speaking of the world coming to an end, I do want to bring this point up, and I don't know how long we'll cover this topic, but it's worth maybe mentioning. I don't know if you guys saw what I posted in the chat about Cody Rhodes hinting that maybe AEW might revive the Four Horsemen stable. What do you think about that?
I'm kind of okay with it. Now, here's obviously I'm going to jump straight to it because I'm excited by this prospect.
Do it.
Who is going to be in the Four Horsemen, the new Four Horsemen?
Well, here's my question before we answer that. because I really want to get your guys' take on that. Who owns the rights to that? I mean, did WCW own the Four Horsemen and then WWE bought WCW? Wouldn't they then own the rights to the Four Horsemen, or did they let those rights lapse, thinking, well, there's never going to be another Four Horsemen, so we don't need to keep trademarking that? Of all the things in the world that WWE would trademark, would they not trademark the probably the hottest stable ever in wrestling?
Oh, dude, again, we're talking about Vince McMahon. Vince McMahon doesn't consider the Four Horsemen shit. He doesn't consider the NWO shit. You know, DX is the greatest stable ever. Undisputed Era is like one of the greatest stables ever. Evolution is one of the greatest stables ever. DX and NWO and the Four Horsemen are shit. They're bullshit. That's again murky, because that shit started in the NWA. So yeah. I don't know if Turner immediately picked up those rights or not. Like, who fucking knows?
It was also more colloquial at that time. I don't think it was like, I mean, it was kayfabe, but it was kind of like, didn't it start out with them calling themselves the Four Horsemen?
Yep, sure.
Yeah, they were just like, they were buddies backstage, and they're like, yeah, we're Four Horsemen. So it grew organically.
The last time that the Four Horsemen was a stable, that was in WCW, right? That's the last time they were a stable. Is that correct?
Fucking terrible rendition with fucking Mongo, McMichael, Benoit, Jeff Jarrett, Flair was there, Arn was there.
I blame
like
Jeff Jarrett
horsemen.
for that.
Hennig, let's not forget that
was there.
That freaking Brian Pillman was also a Four Horseman.
Yeah, but that's okay. I would accept Pillman as a Horseman member. I would.
But in any case, I'm surprised that WWE would let, if they owned it, and I would be really interested to know if they owned it due to their acquisition of WCW. And if they did, good Lord, how could you let that slip? I don't know. I hear what you're saying, though, Dave.
This is ringside news from last year. The WWE does not have the Four Horsemen. In fact, they don't own the rights to the famous stable's name.
Wow.
Ooh.
So
that was a big whiff on their part.
Okay, so this is going to segue to my second question. Now that there's rumors of, Cody Rhodes hinting at this Four Horsemen thing in AEW, do you think WWE hurries up and trademarks it and uses an argument saying like, well, WCW, they were last in WCW, we own the rights to WCW, so we should have first claim to this? I don't know legalese, so I don't know if that's even a thing.
Conrad Thompson.
Oh boy,
Conrad Thompson through his Thompson through his business entity Toot Toot LLC applied the trademark Four Horsemen on March 10th of 2019.
He did what?
Yeah, so
he owns the rights to it?
Wait, I have no fucking idea who this guy is. Conrad Thompson.
He does a lot of wrestling podcasts. He does a wrestling podcast with JR. He does the wrestling podcast with Bruce Pritchard.
Now. Let me ask this question. You can apply for trademarks and have something like the Four Horsemen can be trademarked for in-ring wrestling purposes. It can be trademarked for merchandising purposes. It can be trademarked. I don't think I think you have to apply for trademarks like in different capacities.
Okay.
Now, I'm not a lawyerman. I'm not Saul Lawyerman here, but
Chuck Lawyerman.
Chopped Lawyerman.
Chuck Lawyerman.
Oh, Chuck Lawyerman. Yeah, there we
Charles
go.
Lawyerman III, Esquire.
Charles Lawyerman III, Esquire. Come to Bungo, and Bungo, Esquire.
.com.
.org.
.biz. .gov.
.gov.ninja.
All right, so look, legalese aside, if the Four Horsemen are revitalized in AEW, who are your Four Horsemen in your ideal world?
You mean across any brand or just within the AEW
No, in
context?
AEW. If AEW brings back the Four Horsemen, we're going to stop talking about being... Here
Hold
we
on.
go.
Conrad Thompson is married or engaged to Ric Flair's daughter, Megan Flair.
Look the fuck out. That's
Get
why he
out
did
of
it.
here. That's why he fucking owns. And I
Yep.
mean, you know what? Like,
Good for
fucking
him.
Tony Khan has money. There's no
Hey.
reason he can't say to this guy, you know what? We'd like to lease it from you. And he can be like, hey,
Dude,
why not? You guys give me podcasting rights and we'll talk.
That's why
Well, here's the thing, too. Ric Flair endorsed the fact that if Cody Rhodes brings back the Four Horsemen, Ric Flair openly came out and made a statement saying he'd be all for it. He'd love to see it. So I think if Daddy Flair's on board, son-in-law Conrad is going to be like, hell yeah, Buckaroo. Roll Tide, fucker.
Let's
Roll
get
Tide.
Mr. Casual Gaming Dad himself, Tiger.
Uppercut.
Bomb
Try,
Tom's
bud.
opinion.
Oh.
You want my opinion if they should do it in AEW or who I think would
Don't care if
The
you
who.
think they should do it. We want to know who you think would be in it.
Oh boy. I want to hear from Beef first because I haven't watched anything in a while, so I gotta like rack my brain of what the roster is.
Beef, would you lay down some strip steak on this fucker?
I would lay down all the fucking strip steak, although given my choice, I'd have some ribeye. So
Nope.
Cody Rhodes, I think, would be the legacy guy. No pun intended.
Oh.
You gotta have a fucking hard-nosed tag team, so FTR, for fucking sure, because, Arn and Tully are fucking reincarnated, even though they're not dead, as FTR. And then you need, like, the young guy who's gonna get the fucking rub. And you know who makes the fucking most sense in the world to me? Darby Allin.
Oh.
I was thinking you were gonna say Darby Allin, but do you think,
Or Sammy Guevara, but I don't think they give Sammy Guevara
He doesn't-
another rub with another like another mega icon like this again.
And also, I don't think Guevara has that. He has the thing that fits like what he's in right now. I don't think he has that certain swagger, kind of brute force-ish thing to fit in the Four Horsemen.
I mean, I could see Darby Allin rocking a fucking like black suit, like all black suit, black tie, fucking black, just black everything. I think that he would fit right in.
All
red
Do you think-
everything.
do you think though that he would still keep the half face paint or no?
Ooh.
I don't know, man. That I mean, when
Doesn't
when
fit
you're a
Horseman.
horseman. Well, okay, but to be fair, stupid
No.
fucking
To be fair.
Mongo McMichael.
I missed that.
To be fair,
Nut.
Mongo McMichael kept his stupid fucking like Letterman's jacket as a member of the Four Horsemen. So I mean,
We
if Mongo
okay.
are not
McMichael-
going
listen.
to acknowledge Mongo McMichael as a legit Four Horseman. There are the Four Horsemen that appeared in WCW, and then there's the abortion of the Four Horsemen that appeared in WCW. Let's not confuse the two.
Yeah, that's like saying that that fucking Hornswoggle was a member of DX. You know what I mean? Like
That's fair.
Greatest member of DX.
I mean,
you mean.
okay.
Let's
Yeah,
not
or
go say
here's the
things we
thing.
can't take back.
Or
okay?
King.
Here's the thing, like to me, like growing up, to me growing up, like that's the Horseman I remember though was Flair and Arn and Mongo and Benoit
Oh
and sometimes
God, I
Kurt
feel
Hennig.
sorry for you then.
Right?
Yeah, well, you
yeah, like
remember something terrible
yeah, I do.
because you don't
You're
know
right.
any better.
Well, but that's the thing again. Like, just because it's something from your child. You know what movie I love that everybody shits on? The Rocketeer, and it's objectively not a great movie. But man, I have a soft spot for it. So, Beef, I get where you're coming from.
I'm that way with Howard the Duck.
I just
man,
watched.
It's a fucking great movie. So don't even start there.
I just rewatched The Rocketeer. It's on Disney Plus.
Yep.
Oh no kidding.
What the hell age was I? 5,
Yep.
6 maybe.
Roughly.
When I watched that movie, I remember the title. I remember the mask or the helmet. I don't remember anything else that happened in that movie.
Me neither.
10 minutes in, suddenly I remembered why I didn't remember it. Because it was terrible.
Yo,
Oh no.
I know we're on this
Terrible.
topic, but because we brought up the Rocketeer, you guys want to hear? Okay, so
No.
I told everyone I've always been like starry-eyed and a dreamer and foolish at heart. So
Yeah, we know.
when I was in first grade, everyone had to come to work, come to school dressed as what they wanted to be when they grew up, right? So
no.
everybody came to school as I came dressed as Homestar Runner. No, I can't. Let's be honest. I came dressed as Homestar. Everyone came as like, I want to be a doctor. I want to be a policeman. I want to be a mom because that's a job too, boys. And like, I want to do all those things. I came dressed as the Rocketeer.
That's awesome.
Oh my
Because
gosh.
I have always been awkward and fucking terrible. Back
Who
to
the hell?
What?
Sorry, who the hell even played in the Rocketeer? Like, who played the main character?
People. Let's move back to the wrestling conversation. I don't
Anyway.
know.
Who, why don't you tell me
Off the top of my head, I'm not
who
sure.
you would like to see in the Four Horsemen, and not who you would like to see star in the Rocketeer 2 Electric Boogaloo. Even
Jeremy
Rocketeerier.
You want to hear from Tom or me?
I want to hear from you, Rocketeer boy.
Okay. So
Pookateer.
I would have
the Bardketeer.
the Bard. Actually, you know what? I decided.
No.
Okay. Never mind.
No.
Let's do it. Who's in the
all right.
Four Horsemen in AEW?
I would have to agree with Beef. I would have to agree with Beef on this one and say FTR. It just makes sense. They are the modern day brainbusters. Fight me. Like they make sense for that. I think, for someone, I think just because the thread is there, I kind of think just a third person would be good. Would be oh my god, I keep wanting to call him his WWE name, Sean Spears. I think Sean Spears would be good.
Okay.
The thread's there,
yeah,
and Sean Spears is he's such a good heel, man.
Yep.
He's good in the ring. I think it would behoove them to do FTR and him, and then I think you need a Big Daddy. Get him away. Actually, you know what? Changed my mind. Fourth Horseman, MJF.
Oh, but
So you're not even factoring Cody into this at all.
No.
Wow.
No. MJF, FTR, and Sean Spears. And if not Sean Spears, because, I don't think it would behoove, but I was, instead of MJF, I was going to say Wardlow. But I think a Four Horseman stable that could do really good things. MJF, because he's the mouthpiece. You have the silent killers in FTR, and then you have Sean Spears, who's the utility man. They would be, pardon the pun, dynamite.
now
So, Beef, no. Tom, not Beef.
I could see how you get them confused.
They are quite similar.
wow.
So, Poot has given us who he would like to see in the version of the 8 Horsemen in AEW. Tom, who would you like to see in the 4 Horsemen? And try not to talk yourself out of some answers, pal.
Okay, so I think it kind of depends on if they're going to start it off as a quote unquote heel or face stable, just because I know in AEW they like to say that they don't have heels and faces, but let's be real, there's definitely some heels and faces. So I like Poot's idea with FTR, Sean Spears, and MJF. But I think if you put Cody in it, if Cody's going to be a part of it and it's going to be like a face stable, I would say Cody. Still have FTR could swing either way. You could easily turn them heel real quick, or you could keep them in a face stable if you did it this way. But Cody, FTR, and then somebody who's just kind of. I would have said Darby as the 4th, but I'm going to throw a name out there that's kind of off the rails. How about QT Marshall?
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
I mean, he'd need to get some hair back, but all right. I mean, but here, so at the end of the day, I think that there needs to be, like, you got to have your Ric Flair that's going to anchor the group, and like, I love MJF. He doesn't need the Horsemen. To me, a guy that I think could be... No, but I think that he could be a solid anchor for the team he had I loved heel Cody in New Japan, and Ring of Honor, where he came out in like a trench coat, like smoking the big fucking cigars, like General Cody Rhodes. Like that was good shit. I think that Cody could pull off a really great version of the Horseman as a heel. IMO. What about you, Ransom? What are you thinking?
All right, so 3 of mine are in line with you guys. FTR, and I like Poot. I like his suggestion about Sean Spears. I could see Sean Spears coming down with the sunglasses and the suit and pulling it off like it was just fucking breathing. Like, I think he could do it easily. He could be in it. I see him as Horseman material. Now, this is my ideal world. Would this ever happen? Chances are it's pretty much zero. But hear me out. You need that veteran guy. You need the Ric Flair in the Four Horsemen. Because let's face it, when the Four Horsemen came about, Ric Flair didn't need them. Like, he kind of made the group. So, this would be a far cry from anything that he's done in the past. Because I've never once seen this man stroll down to the ring in a suit when he's not been making fun of somebody. But in my ideal world, it would be the 3 of them, and this is how you introduce CM Punk into AEW.
Oh.
He's the Ric Flair. He does something, he reinvents himself, does something he's never done before. He puts the suits on. He comes down, he doesn't have the hoodies, the zips, the t-shirts, the whatever. He's got a fucking suit. And he rolls into AEW with the Four Horsemen. I know it's a far cry, and I know you can look at it and go, that doesn't fit CM Punk at all, in the slightest. Not one little bit. Not anything he's ever done. I beg to
differ.
How big of a shock, how big of a pop, how big of an impact would that be if they rolled out with the Four Horsemen, those 3 guys come out, and then CM Punk comes out last? He's the ringleader of this show. He's the ringleader of the Four Horsemen. The new Four Horsemen. I mean,
you got my dick hard, man. You have my dick hard.
Gross.
That's hot.
Well, all right. This has been a good podcast, everyone. Talk to you later. Have a good night.
Yep. Time for me to go straight.
Oh,
it's over.
Ransom, they don't know that this is the Dickisode, so.
Yeah, they don't. No. When you guys hear the intro, you'll understand that this is the Dickisode.
Cool.
Gotcha.
And don't even think about pulling one of your poots. We're gonna have to cut that out.
Oh no, I'm not doing that at all. If this is the Dickisode, I'm all free for dicking around. No,
yeah, we're dicking around.
The ball's
here.
in your court, buddy. Don't shaft me on this.
I see what you did there with the ball. I see what you did. I'm just saying, how crazy awesome would that be to see CM Punk come out in aviators and a suit, and the 4 of those motherfuckers run roughshod over AEW. He would be the biggest, not heater, but like he'd be the biggest veteran leader guy that you could get to reinvigorate that stable. And honestly, I think CM Punk would jump at the opportunity, because to be able to be a part of a reinvigorated Four Horsemen, I think that would be right up his alley. Because I think he could be that leader of those guys, legit backstage leader of those guys, saying like, this is what you got to do. This is how I got over. I can help you guys get over. Let's do it. Let's make this stable awesome. And I also think if you propose that to him, I think that the ego that CM Punk has, and let's not split hairs here, we all know CM Punk has an ego. I think that would really play to his ego. Like, you're going to be the Ric Flair of this stable. Arguably the greatest wrestler of all time. You're going to be the Ric Flair of this stable. We want you to be him. Come on. How crazy would that be?
That'd be pretty insane.
So here's something that Tom mentioned, and that makes a great point. Now that we've talked about the whom, but the why. Right now, I think that AEW has too many cooks as far as stables go. You have the Dark Order, who's kind of taking a back seat You have the quote unquote Nightmare Family, which is what it is, I guess.
Yeah, hold on. Wait, let me stop you. I need to know who is in that.
The what? The Nightmare Family?
Yes.
Cody, Brandy, Dustin, QT Marshall, and apparently Allie.
Yeah.
He's part of Cody's part of the Nightmare Family and part of the Elite.
Apparently.
He's both. Okay. All right.
Yes.
Quick question on that. When did because I noticed the 1 week when I had it on for like 2 seconds, I noticed that Allie wasn't the bunny anymore. When the fuck did that happen, and what changed there? Just out of curiosity.
I don't know. It just like 1 week she started doting on QT Marshall in the crowd, and it's like that. No more bunny, which I think is fine.
Who is this Allie person again?
A really well-respected independent wrestler. I honestly, I think that like she had like a Finn Balor kind of demon thing going on, where she would come out sometimes like painted up, and that would be like her dark persona.
Yeah.
I loved Allie. I think Allie is gangbusters.
She came from Impact, correct?
I believe so. Yeah.
Yeah, I think she came. She was doing work in Impact, and when she came over to AEW before they changed her into the bunny or whatever, she was just Allie or whatever. But then she got paired up there with Butcher and Blade there for a little while. So it was Butcher, Blade, and Bunny.
Which I mean was okay.
Bunny didn't. I'm sorry. I think Butcher and Blade should have been by themselves from the get-go. But that's just.
I agree. I agree.
And I honestly, I don't think the bunny did Allie any favors either. So I'm happy that she's there. I'm interested to see where this goes, but I think that this is one of those like dark programs where like she's gonna cause the rift between the Nightmare Family with QT and Dustin, and it's gonna be something that like is a storyline on Dark. But so you have those two. You have the Elite, obviously. You have the
Inner Circle.
What the hell? Inner Circle. You have the Death Triangle.
Is that still a thing?
Yeah, but
it is. But they kind of moved away from it because Neville can't. Or my God, calling him his fucking slave name.
Don't use his slave name.
Because Pac can't be in the U.S. right now. Somehow Pentagon got through. I guess they must have smuggled him in some luggage or something.
Jesus Christ.
No, I'm serious. Like that's why Pentagon like didn't work at AEW for like 3 months, is because he couldn't get across the Mexican border because of the fucking COVID. Now that he's in the United States, he probably can't go back to Mexico. So, good job, Pentagon. Hope you made a good decision. But
he knew what he was doing.
There are way too many stables in AEW for my liking. That's why they disbanded the thing that Brandy was doing with Awesome Kong and Luther, and what's her name, Serena Deeb looking motherfucker.
Yeah, I don't know where that was literally like there 1 week, and then the next week it was just poof gone. They
just NWO'd it, where Cody was like, no, we're not doing this. It was like an interview. He was like, well, we decided that we're gonna, we're being pulled in too many directions, so we're gonna kind of solidify things, and instead of having 8 stables, we're only gonna have 6. So before the Horsemen show up, I think that there needs to be some, and I mean the Inner Circle's probably the one that's going to go first. The Elite, if Hangman leaves the Elite, then I mean really you're just left with Omega and the Bucks theoretically. So it is what it is.
Isn't Cody still part of the Elite, or is he out?
He's so if you had to draw his allegiance one way or the other, he's probably like 60 Nightmare Family. 30 Elite. He's always been kind of like an auxiliary Elite member. He's the cleanup guy. He's the utility player, as Poot said.
Okay, so I don't know. When I think of all those stables, the ones that I think could potentially go, like you said, Beef, if Paige leaves, I can see the Elite folding. The Young Bucks stay a tag team. Kenny Omega goes his own way. They occasionally help each other out, but they're not an official stable.
Right.
And then the Nightmare Family too. Like, I don't know. Like, I could see that going by the wayside. But I don't know. I would love to see them be able to do something and say, like, okay, we're going to get rid of a few stables, and we're going to bring in the Horsemen. And that's the one I would love to see them focus. Like, I would love to see them focus on two primary stables. That, you know, you don't have to have necessarily a face and a heel stable, but two stables that are kind of like top tier. You focus on them, you feature them. I mean, if you look back in WWE during the heyday of the stables, which in my opinion was DX post Shawn Michaels, the Nation, those were like your two top tier stables. They feuded with each other, they ran roughshod over other teams. And then you had your lower stables, like you had LOD, you had who were the guys in the motorcycles?
Yes,
You had the Bariquas.
What the Skull and Chains and 8 Ball? What the hell were they?
They were the DOA, Disciples of Apocalypse.
Disciples of Apocalypse. So you had your lower tier stables where, you know, they were, yes, they're still technically stables, but they weren't always featured prominently on the show. And if they were, it was less about them being a stable and more about them being a tag team.
Yeah.
Like, how many times did you see DOA come out and Chains would be at ringside when Skull and 8 Ball would be wrestling? So it wasn't like they were wrestling as a stable. It was more of a tag team, but you still had that third guy there. I would like to see that kind of happen in AEW, where you had your two top tier stables, then you have your lower ones where, yes, they are a stable, but you don't really focus a lot on the fact that they are a stable.
I don't think it's fair. So I think that honestly, if I had my druthers, it's fair. But if I had my druthers,
not fair. Come on.
Oh, my bad. If I had my druthers, I would say that the Dark Order should be one of the focuses without Brody Lee.
Without?
Yes. I miss what Evil Uno was doing, because, man, he was knocking it out of the park every single fucking week, and they were building this the Great fucking Order, or whatever the fuck his name is.
The Exalted
one, yes. Building him up, and then it's Brody Lee, and I'm like, okay, this could work. And then they're like, but he's actually a Vince McMahon character. Ha ha! We're gonna get you a needle, good Vince. Ha ha! I think that Brody Lee is the Exalted One, as the leader of the Dark Order, has not landed. And I would like to see the Dark Order go back to their original roots with Evil Uno and Stu Grayson. And tertiary people, your Alex Silver and your John Reynolds, and maybe even Colt Cabana could step in as the leader guy.
So what do you see happening with Brody Lee? Does he continue to remain like the Vince McMahon type character, only on his own, or do you repackage him into something completely different?
I think they should bring back the Brody Lee that everybody knew, that kind of morphed into Luke Harper. This shtick with him with the fucking man bun, wearing the fucking suits, it ain't working for me. No, it ain't working for me. This is 100% a shtick on WWE. But what do you think? I know that you're pretty strongly opinion about Brody Lee and the Mr. Brody Lee character.
I really my only regret with all of it is that they had something that could have been so special, and the build up to it was so good. And announcing Brody Lee as it, I was like, man, Brody Lee is going to do something great with this, because he's imposing, he has the mic chops, the whole 9 yards. And the first promo he cut on his debut promo was it was that you underestimated me, you underestimated us. I was like, I can't wait. And then literally immediately they're just like, fuck you, Vince McMahon. I'm like, guys, you were there. You were at home plate. You had the tip in. Just shove the rest in.
So you think they really missed the mark with him?
Oh,
they did.
They did. No,
this is all part
let
of
me
Cody's...
finish. Can I finish?
Can I finish?
Can I finish?
Jesus.
Can I finish?
Can I just finish? Can I finish?
That's my
Peter Griffin.
My point with it is, I really wanted it to be something special, and it's so sad they took it as a jab, because it's like, yeah, they've gotten their hits in, they've gotten their licks in with WWE and Vince McMahon and Triple H and all the naysayers and all the everything, but
and the COVID,
and we're done. Like, we're done with that. You guys have established yourselves as something that's going. Do you have the momentum that, say, a New Japan or a WWE has? No, not even by a long shot. Do they have a lot of momentum? Yes. Are they making a name for themselves? Yes. But you don't do that on the back of stupid, dumb, veiled, nanny boo-boo jokes. Like, you just don't. Like, you needed... I wanted to see Brody Lee. Yeah, he debuted, and he was wearing white. First of all, I was like, dude, no. Black robe, leather cloak, something. Just, like, be imposing. Everyone knows you're Brody Lee, but sit in a throne. Everything you cut. So that, like, for weeks and months, all people see is you sitting on a throne of skulls and bones, or, like, this big gothic chair, you know, like, and so when he does make his in-ring debut, it's an event. It's like, fuck, okay, we know what Brody Lee can do, but then have Brody Lee just raffle stomp whoever he was gonna fight, just raffle stomp, and like make them a threat, make him a threat, so that then down the road, the first person who beats the Exalted One is made. Like, they dropped the ball on this by making it a fucking basically the equivalent of a dick and fart joke.
Oh.
Like, like on the same level, I mean. It's not literally a dick and fart joke, but it's on that level.
I understand what you're saying. Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Oh, yeah,
I have a question once Poot's done with the
No, I'm
Brody
done.
Lee.
That was it.
Okay. So I have a question that's kind of directed towards Beef, since he is the AEW aficionado. What did and I caught a little bit of Fyter Fest last night. What did you think of the whole Taz with the FTW title to Brian Cage? What's your thoughts on that? And like enlighten me, like, what the hell is the FTW title all about? Because I never really.
Fuck the world. Fuck the world. Fuck your rules. Every week, Taz would come out with FTW on his. Poot's the Taz guy.
Oh, dude. Okay. So Taz, real quick, Taz would come out with on his wrist tape, and even on his towels sometime, on his trunks, he would have FTW on there. And obviously, it was a little whitewashed in WWE, and they said "fight the world," but it was very, very clearly "fuck the world." Because Taz was a smaller guy. He was, basically a strong man in WWE. He was a small, thick suplex machine. Right. And he was brutal. And that was his whole thing. So he came up with the FTW title. And he would carry it around. And that's the original one. So when I saw that he gave that to Brian Cage, he busted it back out. Not going to lie. I got little, like, stomach butterflies. I was like, oh, yay. Like,
well, then I guess maybe I should have directed the question to you then, Poot, because I didn't know that you were quote unquote the Taz guy, so yeah.
Like Shawn Michaels was my favorite wrestler for a long time, and then the first time I saw Taz watching old ECW things, I looked at him and I went, "Holy fuck, that's me!" Like,
you're Rhino, you're not Taz.
No, I'm Rhino.
No.
Yeah.
Sorry, Poot. Poot is Taz because fucking every week the Taz comes out, starts running his mouth. Brittany looks over at me and goes, "When did Chuck go to AEW?" Like, have you seen Poot's dad? Poot's dad literally looks like Taz. We are looking at a mirror of what Poot's gonna look like in like 30 years.
Listen, you give me 6 to 8 more months, I'm gonna be the Barbarian. I'm gonna look just like him.
The Barbarian, I like it.
So the FTW title was basically Shane Douglas was injured in ECW and was ducking Taz. So Taz was like, "Fuck it, I'm gonna make my own title because you're too fucking scared to face me. Here's the fuck the world title because that's what I believe in."
Yeah. So I had to try to explain to somebody that was not like an official AEW title. I'm like, no. I was like, I don't know the exact origins, but I know that's not the case. Like,
no, I mean, so I don't think it's needed. So Taz the last like 4 weeks or so basically the Build 2 Fighter Fest. Taz has knocked it out of the park. The whole angle with Brian Cage and Taz being his mouthpiece, like Taz is showing you how criminally misused he was in WWE because they never gave him the stick. Never.
No.
And
Yep.
like now he's fucking killing it. And I mean you could say what you want about like their fucking little jabs about WWE or whatever, but Taz's jab about them not running a sloppy show was probably the greatest thing that AEW's ever said about WWE in the world, and he's not fucking wrong.
Yeah, because I mean, like not to derail into a whole bunch of COVID talk or anything, but just from a broad painting with a broad brush here, like has anybody in AEW tested positive and stuff like that we've heard of?
Not that I know of.
Yeah, he's not wrong. He's really not wrong.
And I mean, I'm sure that was probably a directive given to him by the brass because, like, basically WWE submarined their big, like, 2-part summer show without knowing that they were doing it. Basically, Renee getting the fucking COVID and putting Moxley on 2-week quarantine. You know, yeah, okay, now they get to have like a third, like, big fight feel night of it, which is great. But you know, all the same, and then like what do they do? Fucking WWE not only counter programs a 2-week pay-per-view feel with the Great American Bash, but then they pull a fucking title change on the main event, which I think AEW may have been angling toward. To be real, I think that they may have been considering putting that title on Brian Cage. If they were, I don't think they are anymore because of what NXT just did last night. But, you know,
I don't know what you guys all kind of covered in the first hour or not.
Nothing about this.
Okay.
Mainly 4 horsemen and dicks. That's pretty much it.
Mm-hmm.
Got it. Got it. 4 dicks. So or 4 horse dicks. Anyways. So wait, did you just go like yum?
Horse dick.
I mean, I hear Rocky Mountain oysters are quite a delicacy, so why not?
They are actually.
Seaman,
they are
son.
actually. Get over it. They are.
Anywho,
they're good.
So I was kind of glad to see that. You know, again, when a good promos can pull from real life, I'm glad to see that. You know, when Taz was doing those promos, cutting them on Moxley about the fact that Moxley had to be home quarantined or whatever, he kind of took it and took it a little bit of a jab towards Moxley and turned it into typical heel 101s, like, oh yeah, you can say you're at home quarantining, but like you're just a scared bitch, whatever, that kind of thing. So I was glad to see him do that. So seeing that you guys didn't touch on Great American Bash yet, I'm gonna go to Ransom on this one. How do you? He didn't watch it. Well, he knows about it at least, right?
Yeah, he knew about it last week when I told him.
I know they're doing it.
Okay, so how do you feel about Keith Lee getting this mega push and the title getting taken off of Cole?
My thoughts on that are twofold. The good is that Keith Lee got that title. I think if there's someone in NXT that deserved to take the title from Adam Cole, it was Keith Lee. I think he can have a monster of a title run. I think he can pull it off. I think he's going to do well in the ring with it. I think he's going to do well on the mic with it. Like, I think he's great. I don't have a whole lot of bad things. I don't think I have anything bad to say about Keith Lee, if I'm going to be completely honest. So I'm good with that. Happy with that happened. Good with that. The bad. It scares me that Adam Cole doesn't have that title anymore, because usually when a guy who has had such a phenomenal run as the NXT champion loses the title, you know what that means. You know where they're going.
Yep. Fucking main roster purgatory.
And the potential in that terrifies the hell out of me. We've talked about it so many times before, and I'm not going to go into it again. Like, I'm not going to paddle down that stream. But that's the bad in it. I'm fine with Keith Lee having the title. I'm worried that they're going to break up the Undisputed Era and send Cole to the main roster, or they're going to send the Undisputed Era as a whole to the main roster. And I know we've talked at length about the potential and the greatness of Adam Cole, and I don't deny any of that.
Now,
but
have
shut
you
up!
caught...
Would you give me a minute? I'm going to cut off your horse dick. What the hell was I saying? Oh, yeah. I just, oh my. I don't know. The prospect of Adam Cole going to the main roster scares me. I hope I'm going to be wrong. Just like I hoped, pardon me, just like I hoped I was going to be wrong about The Fiend. And I feel like I wasn't. I feel like I wasn't wrong. I feel like he's not doing well. I don't know. There's nothing more I need to say on it. Him going to the main roster, the idea of that scares the shit out of me.
Now,
I think he's going to fall into purgatory.
Have you caught any of the stuff recently? Because I only caught a glimpse of it. I didn't see like the takeover event or anything like that with like Dexter Lumis getting introduced and him just kind of like running roughshod on Roderick Strong and stuff. I wasn't sure if you had been following that or if they had okay.
No idea.
Poot, have you been paying close attention to that? Like, are you watching it pretty on the regular?
Dude, honestly, the past the past week, but pretty much the past 2 weeks, I've been kind of off the grid.
Fair enough.
So, you know.
I just wasn't sure if how that I guess maybe once Beef gets back we'll ask him that. There, perfect timing. Beef, how do you feel the with like I was just asking, like not so much the Keith Lee Adam Cole bit. I mean give me your takes on that however you feel, but do you think do you think they still have more down there in NXT with like the program that's going on with Dexter Lumis and him kind of terrorizing the Undisputed Era a little bit, or like how I don't know, like what do you see, like what's your projection for things moving forward now that Cole doesn't have the title?
I think we'll see him on SmackDown sooner than later.
God.
Listen, if I had my choice, if I had my choice, Dynamite would be the show that I want to see him on. But if not Dynamite and not NXT, SmackDown would be that show, because I think that they still value wrestling on SmackDown. They still have great matches on SmackDown. It's a little bit more watchable than Raw is. It's all
done by the same person though now.
It is, but I mean they're two different programs.
And
for how long?
Yeah.
Well, that's fair. I don't know.
I'm just saying, like, if Pritchard's in charge of both now, how soon before there's really no overlap? Well, no. Yes, that. But how soon before there's really no overlap between Raw and SmackDown, where they're pretty much the same damn show?
I think that they want to keep their identities different. I really do. And that's
I mean, it stands of quality. Quality, though.
I don't know. Like, to me, it feels like Raw has nothing. Like, there's no reason for me to pop on Raw. But, like, SmackDown has D-Bride, has Styles, has Riddle, has the Boston Bailey thing happening, has Alexa Bliss, like Bray Wyatt, like Braun Strowman to a lesser extent, The Miz, The Morrison, like the New Day, like there are the Usos. There are countless reasons I can sit here and name off, which I just did. Nakamura, the reasons to watch SmackDown versus watching Raw. Raw has nothing that I'm interested in at all.
I have two questions for you, Beef.
Mm-hmm.
One, how do you feel they're utilizing Riddle on SmackDown? Is he getting a fair shake, or is he going to be like mid-card obscurity by next week?
Well, he beat the Intercontinental Champion on his first night there, so I think they're doing pretty good with them.
Okay. And second question, did Adam Cole re-sign with WWE or anything? Because I know there was something about his contract coming up or something. Like,
I think that was like a where there's smoke, there's fire thing, and Cole kind of played into it. It's gone away. So I would love it if he walked away from NXT and went to AEW or New Japan or fucking anywhere, but Raw or SmackDown. I think that would be the greatest thing in the world for him, for the business. But
let me just piggyback off of what you said and tie it in with my fear here, Beef. I don't know how much you heard of what I said about Cole and Keith Lee, but we've talked about it before. My fear of Cole going to the main roster.
Mm-hmm.
All of the people that you just mentioned that are on SmackDown. Does it scare you in the slightest? Because it scares me. Of him going to SmackDown with all of the good talent that you just mentioned that's on SmackDown right now. It scares me that he goes there because they have all this talent that's really killing it. Does he add to that?
Oh my God!
Or does he? Well, yes.
Can you
or
imagine?
does he get lost? Does he get lost in the plethora of good wrestlers that are there?
Adam Cole couldn't get lost on a fucking Where's Waldo painting. Like, Adam Cole walks into a fucking mirror maze and just walks right through. Adam Cole is a once-in-a-generational talent. And I know that we've used that term before, but I truly believe that he's the total package, that he has absolutely everything you need to be a successful talent.
There's another dick reference.
Now,
right?
I hear what you're saying, and I'm not. Well, I guess I am kind of comparing him to these guys, but what's his face? Finn Balor.
Mm-hmm.
First ever.
You mean, yeah. Mm-hmm.
First ever Universal Champion.
Yep.
And lost in mid-card obscurity. Kevin Owens, the guy that came to the roster or came from NXT and said, "I don't want your stupid US title. I've got the NXT title." Probably one of the biggest moves ever.
That was so badass.
Yeah. And look at him now.
Where is packages? Is he injured or something?
Well, let's talk about that here in a little bit.
Okay. Just curious.
Because I want to bring up something a little bit later. He's involved in that.
Okay.
But you look at these guys who, I wouldn't say that they are the caliber of Adam Cole, but they really should have shined. They really should have shined a lot brighter and a lot longer than they did on the main roster, quote unquote main roster, whatever. You know what I'm referencing. And just fizzled. I mean, I know Kevin Owens had that awesome run as the U.S. champion. When he was the face of America, that was a great angle. But look at his title, like his WWE or Universal title reign, whichever one that was, or both,
Universal.
whichever. Like cup of coffee almost. I fear that this could happen with Adam Cole. I understand. I get it. I know what you're going to say. They are not up to his caliber. I understand that. But when they showed up, I would say at the time, they were the biggest thing coming from NXT.
No,
they were a big fucking deal.
I was going to actually agree with you, and I was going to say it's almost like WWE, and guys, I don't know if you figured this out or not, is really bad at handling good talent.
Oh my goodness.
I know it's like
yes.
It's like this. I know it's a deep cut. It's a long stretch, but it's like they're not good at handling talent that can make them millions of dollars.
Look at the Fiend. The Fiend lost to fucking Goldberg. Clean.
Oh God, that makes my dick hurt. Stop.
Clean. Come on. You can't tell me that seeing all of the top tier NXT guys who came to the main roster, I acknowledge, Beef, that none of them were the caliber of Adam Cole. He's in a class of his own. I 110% agree with that. But all the guys who, at the time, when they were done with their NXT run and they went to the main roster, were the biggest thing coming out of NXT. And look what happened to them. Not one of them right now is Samoa Joe, another one. None of them right now are in the main title picture. None of them right now are,
Drew McIntyre.
I would say top guys. Well, okay, Drew McIntyre, but,
Yeah.
One.
I know,
and that's
agree
for
with
right
you.
now. How
Right.
much longer is that going to be? Honestly,
Yeah, what program is he kind of running on Raw? I haven't watched. I don't know.
I don't think he has one right now. He beat Lashley.
I saw something about I saw something about
isn't he facing Ziggler? Because didn't Ziggler bring out
Oh, that's right. Yep.
his old 3MB buddy and turned them against each other, and then they hugged it out at the end? And
which kind of might have been like a goodbye for Heath Slater. Like I think he might be done, or I don't know.
well, I mean,
So-
I don't know. I don't think he ever really started.
Yeah.
I mean, I don't disagree with you at all. That's why I said I want Adam Cole on fucking Dynamite. Like there is no ifs, ands, or buts about it. Adam Cole could make AEW a lot of money. AEW could make Adam Cole a lot of money. And
There's another one that could come in as the leader of the Four Horsemen.
Ooh.
Right.
Adam
Oh
Cole.
my god, yeah. Oh my god, yeah.
Ooh.
So like I don't know the status of his contract. I think it's probably much ado about nothing. I hope I'm wrong. I hope his contract is coming up, and I hope he says "fuck you guys, I'm out." But I mean,
Hello?
Is
Hi.
Beef dead?
I don't know.
Beef's
I-
dead.
Did Beef die?
Beef's
Okay,
dead.
I wasn't the only one that lost him
The
then.
beef
Nope,
is not
I
dead.
thought I was out.
I'm so glad the beef is not dead. The beef is not dead.
His circle is still showing up all lit up, so I don't know if he's still talking or what. But anyways,
He was getting a little. He was getting a little too cocky. So Discord sacked him. I'm trying to think
Yeah.
of as many dick puns for the Dickisode as possible.
Oh, sacked him. I get it. I get
Sack him.
sacking.
well,
But yeah, I don't know.
all right.
I'm
So-
just saying, like, look at all the talent that WWE's wasted.
Yeah.
Do you not see that being even a possibility of happening with Adam Cole?
Yeah.
Like, I think he could come in, as a house of fire.
right.
motherfucker.
Oh, there he is. I think he could come in as a house of fire on SmackDown. Really, really hot start. But I don't know. How soon is it that Adam Cole gets fed to fucking Goldberg?
Oh God, don't even. Oh.
No, so I think they've learned some lessons. I would hope, and I mean, like we've seen how awful Vince McMahon looks. He can't be long for this world. I hate being fucking morbid about it, but I mean,
No, you
like
don't.
you're right. I don't care at all about Vince McMahon's health or his fucking longevity or whatever.
Damn.
It's a waiting game, man. All these guys who Triple H has, Ricochet, Samoa Joe, who Triple H just kind of called over the corner and be like, listen, man, just keep your head down. Don't say or do anything stupid. Keep working hard every night. We'll get there. I truly believe that sooner than later, if nothing else, I think that the fucking shareholders might take Vince's power from him because Raw did a 1.8, I think a 1.8 in the ratings this week. Oof, that's bad.
You would think that with them not having crowds there, more people would have to tune in because they're not going to be able to go out and catch a fucking Raw or SmackDown event. So
Yeah, you would think that they would actually, capitalize on it and put on a passable show, but instead it's, I don't know, man. Like I don't know. Like Raw is absolutely unwatchable, and I feel bad saying that, seeing as they've put on some really great talent that I really appreciate, Andrade, and I can't remember his name now. That's he's the guy that we're fucking talking about being the next Eddie Guerrero, and I can't remember his name.
Angel Garza.
Angel Garza, yeah.
Like that's how
Angel Garza.
shitty that they're doing these guys. So, I don't know, man. Like,
You know what? Speaking of something that that actually is watchable, I got to put a quick plug into to one of the sponsors over with Sean Tischler and all the IWC work. I don't know if you guys, I sent it in the group chat. IWC was supposed to have their back in business this Saturday on the 11th. It actually got moved to the 18th, but they're actually doing it down in the Brownsville drive-in, so that way they can do it outside. People can stay parked in their cars, because now with everything that's, you know, with all the new spikes and then like whatever the daily changing restrictions and stuff that's going on with COVID and everything, they are adapting the best that they can. So if anybody is in around the southwestern PA area and you're near or can get near the Brownsville Drive-In, July 18th, IWC back in business. Go check it out. So, anyways,
Yeah, I saw that, and that should be a fun show. Just be smart, be safe, wear a fucking mask. So I never got to say.
Oh yeah, go ahead.
I never got to tell you guys what I thought about the title change.
Yeah, let's hear it.
Yeah, go ahead.
I think that Keith Lee's the wrong guy.
Oh my goodness.
Yeah, right. I
really didn't expect that from you.
I love Keith Lee. I love what he's doing. I love what they've done with him the last 6 months. He is absolutely proving that he is a fucking MVP. But he, you know, first of all, title matches are bullshit, and they're always stupid because there's no fucking point in having one guy with 2 titles. It makes zero fucking creative sense.
Oh, it made great sense whenever Goldberg was the U.S. title and the world title.
Tell that to Lance Storm, you pleb.
All right, so Lance Storm had a wonderful angle written for him, and yeah, you are right. In that scenario, it made all the sense in the world. But outside of Lance Storm and WCW, like the one good thing of the dying WCW, that the Natural Born Thrillers, So putting 2 belts on one guy is never going to be a good creative option because you're basically putting one of the titles hostage. So I'm never for a title for title guy. But that being said, I get the allure of it. Keith Lee has had an amazing run as as North American champion. He's had some great defenses, put on some classic matches, as we expect Keith Lee to do. You know, I believe that Keith Lee didn't need to beat Adam Cole. Keith Lee already has the fucking crowd eating out of the palm of his hand. To me, they put a rocket on Karrion Kross's back by having him beat Adam Cole at the NXT before SummerSlam. That, to me, I thought was, like, written in the stars. I think that was a perfect way to, like, really make Karrion Kross a believable monster, is just to have him go out there and wreck Adam Cole's day. Like, take the guy that's held the title longer than anybody and just make it look so easy. So now we're in a corner where either Keith Lee isn't a transitional champion and loses to Karrion Kross, which is possible very soon, or you beleaguer Karrion Kross getting the title and have like 6 more months of him just burying people.
Or what do you? I was gonna say, which title do you think that they're gonna have Keith Lee drop? Like, you think, like, if he has is he gonna get put in? If he gets put into a title match program, is it gonna be for the NXT title, or does he like? Is he gonna vacate the North American title and there's gonna be a tournament for that? Like, how do you think?
I would assume. Yeah, I would. Or another like 6-person ladder match, like how they started it. I think that would be a great way to start to go into it again.
That's the one thing, and I'll agree with you on that. I don't like seeing the title for title matches because it's basically just like, all right, well, I got this one, so now I'm going to go throw one of these away, like for no good reason. Like
right. Or the alternative is you have them both and you have to defend them both, and you know, basically you're guaranteed not to get both those titles on the same night. But yeah,
look,
like
hold on. We can't get past this.
I'm not finished.
I don't care that you're not finished. We have to just give me a second. This proceeds.
Yeah.
Whatever that noise you just made, it sounded like someone from a distance pouring pudding into a sink's asshole. Not a sink. A sink's asshole. I don't know how you managed that, but you did it.
I was really hoping that you would comment on that. Really hoping.
Oh yeah, I heard it. I had questions.
Damn it.
Okay,
Poops.
Beef,
Damn
go
it,
on.
Ransom.
Sorry, Beef. What were you saying?
You're good.
My bad.
I expect this level of professionalism, so it's all good.
Look, we have all four dum-dums here. This is what happens.
This is the Dum Dum Show.
Reunited, and it feels so good. So
we understood.
I believe that Keith Lee is probably the best thing that NXT has going right now. But like I said, man, like to me, this was absolutely written for fucking Karrion Kross to come in, dominate Cole, take that title, and like make it fucking Apocalypse NXT time.
I thought you were gonna say make it great again, and I was gonna slap you.
No, NXT's never been bad. Never been bad.
I have a question.
I have an answer.
I have a question. And Poot, I need you to strap in because this is going to be a controversial question.
42.
I'm not, let me preface it for all the trigger happy people out there that listen to the show. I can't imagine that's many after the things that we've said in the past. But let me just preface it. I think Keith Lee is a great talent. 100%. I don't think this, but I can see how Vince McMahon might think this.
I know where this is going.
Yeah, I'm sure we all do. We've seen Vince McMahon capitalize on race before. Look at Jinder Mahal. Yeah. Look at Jinder Mahal's title reign when they were going and doing Middle Eastern stuff. After that was over, where's he now? Fucking nowhere. Do you think that any part of this Keith Lee NXT title business could be Vince McMahon capitalizing on the current racial climate that is present in the United States? I mean, we saw Keith Lee come out at the one event, and he had Black Lives Matter on his trunks. There's nothing, in my opinion, wrong with that. Good for him, in my view, for speaking up, for standing up. I'm pro him doing that. 100% pro him doing that. And I don't think the Keith Lee won based on this. But we know Vince McMahon. And we know Vince McMahon loves to capitalize on a good hot button issue. Do you think he is a flash in the pan NXT champion because race, color, creed? Do you think that's what is maybe one of the driving forces behind this in Vince McMahon's mind? Not mine.
The thought crossed my mind. I'm not going to lie.
It did for me. It did.
Yes, 100%. I'm like, well, and like I honestly thought, so like, you know, Shida won, you know, right after the whole Hana Kimura thing. And I was like, well, okay, like that makes a lot of sense. I was expecting Private Party to win, actually this last week, because, you know, it's tough to say, but realistically, you know, it's the old, you know, there's no such thing as bad news. You know, getting your name out there, whether you're capitalizing on it or not. So I do think that had something to do with it. I think that Triple H was on board because he knew that Keith Lee is a house of fire. I mean, look at the last year for Keith Lee. He stood toe-to-toe with Roman Reigns at Survivor Series and, like, lost by a fucking, like, cunt hair. Like, he stood toe-to-toe with Brock Lesnar and Braun Strowman, two guys, by the way, who have championship pedigrees, and was only eliminated because he was, you know, going toe-to-toe with Strowman. So, like, it's very clear that they have a path for Keith Lee. And I have heard that Vince McMahon is very high on Keith Lee.
Yeah,
So,
well, he was very high on Shayna Baszler, too.
Ooh.
Yeah, what the hell happened there?
Yeah, well, Five Head, that's what happened.
Oh. Okay. So,
I'm
what
so
do you
upset.
think? Do you think he legit holds this title for a while? Or do you think
I
it's one of
don't.
those Jinder Mahal
I
deals
don't.
where...
I'm going to need a beer for this. I'll be back, guys.
I believe that Karrion Kross is going to beat him. And maybe as soon as NXT SummerSlam. Because and I have to be very careful how I say this because I love Keith Lee, and I think that he's probably the best talent that the WWE has right now. But I think that, like, character-wise, Karrion Kross could be, like, the next fucking guy. Like, just the way that they're treating his character, the way that he walks, the way his fucking facial expressions, the way that Scarlett works with him. Like, I believe that I fixed it, right? That he will have a rocket to his back and with the NXT title. And they even teased it last night after Keith Lee won, showing him and Scarlett in the sound booth watching on. So, like, I don't believe that Keith Lee needs that title. I think it's a nice thing for him to have, and it looks nice on his resume. But at the end of the day, I think that the story is in Karrion Kross winning the title from Keith Lee. Like, Lee just not having quite enough.
You think he's a transitional champion?
I do. I hope I'm wrong, but I hope that I'm wrong, and it's not at the determinant of Karrion Kross. I don't want to see Karrion Kross lose his first title match.
Right.
But they're obviously heavy-handedly foreshadowing with it. So
let me ask you this:
man.
Since Adam Cole lost that title, in your professional opinion, as being a wrestling connoisseur, well, you're more of a wrestling connoisseur than the rest of the three of us. I mean, we like wrestling, but you follow it a lot closer than we do. Do you think this is Adam Cole's goodbye for NXT? Or do you think he remains there for a while? I mean, is my fear of him going to the main roster at this point unjustified? Or do you think, okay, he lost the title, and this is it. They're going to put it on Karrion Kross. Adam Cole's not going to be back in the title picture again. And this is his main roster call-up time. Or do you think he remains in NXT? Not what you hope would happen. I know what we're all hoping for. I think we're all in agreement of that. But what do you foresee happening?
All signs point to him in the Undisputed Era heading to the main roster.
Oh, damn it.
Yeah, I mean, what else could they do? The Undisputed Era has held the tag team titles more times than anybody else in NXT history. They held every single piece of gold for a decent amount of time. Adam Cole is the longest reigning NXT champion in history. He's held every title in NXT history except for the Cruiserweight title. Like, there is literally nothing else for Adam Cole or the rest of the Undisputed Era. The only thing that I think was out there was the Roddy Strong and Adam Cole beef that I think could have been expounded into an actual match with Roddy Strong versus Adam Cole. I think that was always kind of hanging there, but never came to fruition. But outside of that, which I don't think they're going to do, because I think that they know that the Undisputed Era needs to exist as a unit on the main roster.
So do you see them coming up for SummerSlam? Or is it before that?
Or the night after. They may even hold them off. So it it depends on where we are in the world, man. Like, it depends. I feel like they want to hold them off until the crowd's back because it's going to be a big fucking thing. But I don't think we're going to see a crowd in 2020. I really don't. So as much as they want to hold them back, I don't think they will. I think that I honestly have pretty high hopes for them. I think that they could make a Nexus-style splash. And I absolutely think that they should. And I think that they could be a dominant force on Raw or SmackDown. my mind runs. You're right. There are lots and lots and lots of things, signs pointing me to, how awful it's going to go on the main roster with Adam Cole and then in the Undisputed Era. But at the end of the day, man, like they literally have nothing else to do in NXT. As much as I love Roddy Strong, Bobby Fish, and Kyle O'Reilly, if Adam Cole leaves to go to AEW or NJPW or whatever, I think that leaves them, dead in the water. And I think that he knows that. And I think that he's buddies with these guys, so he's not going to fucking abandon them like that and let them, because I can guarantee you that without Adam Cole, those three guys go to the main roster and they flounder.
Oh, yes.
Roddy Strong might get a nice little Intercontinental title run, maybe. And Redragon might get something tossed their way at some point, much like happened with Gallows and Anderson or FTR. I guess the Revival at that point.
Yeah, I can see them getting the Revival treatment.
Right, like a nice little title reign here and there, but nothing close to what they did now. So I think, honestly, when it comes down to it, even if Cole's contract was expiring, I don't think that he would abandon these guys. I think he knows that their money is as a unit. So unless they all four can leave, which would be a huge fucking coup for AEW or anybody, I don't think he'll leave. But I truly believe that they're going to make a big impact on the main roster. If it were me, I would definitely have them have McIntyre beat Lesnar at SummerSlam, and then have them come out and just obliterate McIntyre.
I didn't think I was gone that long that we're on to McIntyre.
We're talking about Undisputed Era when they're gonna when Beef foresees them reaching the main roster, and I can see that. Just like they made a big splash with it was McIntyre the first time, wasn't it?
It was.
Sure, Adam Cole showed up in NXT. So look, Tom. Speaking of COVID, that's where allegedly, if the internet is to be believed, that is where Kevin Owens, Sami Zayn, and Roman Reigns are all in that boat of, we're not comfortable doing this. You're having breakouts. We're not coming to work.
Right.
Because of COVID. Now, I did want to touch on this a little bit. We don't have to spend a whole lot of time. I know, Beef, you had talked about stuff that you wanted to hit, and I don't want to derail from that. But I do want to ask real quick what you think the repercussions of this could be on those guys, if any. If the article is to be believed, WWE openly said, if you're not comfortable coming in, that's fine. They allegedly gave their blessing. How much of that is publicity and not actual fact, I don't know. But if that article is to be believed, they said, look, if you're not comfortable with it, we understand, and that's fine.
Well,
I still have a hard time believing that Roman Reigns is going to get punished because they spent so much time building him, and they're not going to piss him off, because that would be a gigantic loss. If they pissed off Roman Reigns and his contract expired and he did leave, regardless of where he went, even if he's not utilized correctly, I think it would be a big loss for WWE. They're not going to spend all this time grooming him to be the guy, just to piss him off and let him leave. So I don't think that they're going to do anything to Roman Reigns, but do you think there could be repercussions for Kevin Owens and Sami Zayn?
I honestly think that somehow, some way behind the scenes, I saw an article, but I didn't get a chance to read it, and I wish I would have sent it to you guys so I didn't lose it. But you got to remember that WWE contracts, they're very, very fucking. There's a lot of fuckery with them, because as a wrestler, you should. Okay, with any job, it's primarily one of two things. You're either an employee of the company that you work for, or you're an independent contractor. Now, the same thing in my line of work as a massage therapist. You can be an independent contractor. You could go work at a chiropractor's office, work for yourself, whatever. for me, I'm an employee of, whatever, blah, 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 like that my owners have like their, like my franchisee owners. Yeah. I'm an employee of that, and and I work for it's not even necessarily working for quote unquote Massage Envy, but it's like I'm an employee of my franchisees. So I'm not an independent contractor, but we do have to follow under the guidelines of Massage Envy. Now, that said, WWE stuff is very, very fuckery because they have cases, and I can't think of all the specifics off the top of my head, but I know I read something about it before, where there are certain things where WWE treats their wrestlers as independent contractors, like they don't have to, and if I'm wrong on this, please correct me as I go. If anybody knows any better, where they don't have to be the ones to like provide like a healthcare plan or anything like that for the wrestlers. Like, the wrestlers are responsible for that themselves. Yep. But then on the other hand, with that, there are certain things where WWE holds their talent to specific standards and stuff like that, saying like, they expect them to behave in this way, that way, whatever, PR wise and everything like that, where they're making it like they're treating them like they're employees of the company. So as far as anybody receiving any repercussions, if anybody is going to receive any, I could definitely see Sammy and or Kevin receiving it, because they've already put them in the doghouses before, whenever they didn't want to travel over to Saudi Arabia. So my thinking, unfortunately, is why would that be any different? However, if they try to do that, I feel that that Kevin and Sammy both would have a leg to stand on, because it's not just a matter of it's not a matter of like, well, okay, it's against my religious belief or this or that, which, technically technically WWE shouldn't be able to punish anybody for, because that would be protected under like any sort of anti-discriminatory act. But it'd be very hard for anybody to prove that, oh, well, they punished me because of this, because WWE could just as easily come back and say, oh, well, we just didn't happen to have a storyline for them. They weren't fired, they weren't let go. We just didn't happen to have a storyline push for them or anything. So it's a very, very fucking shitty gray area to mess with. From a moral standpoint, they should absolutely not be punished, because I'm sorry, like it's not a matter of questioning work ethic, or it's not a matter of it's not anything except for the fact that these people want to look out for the safety of themselves and their family, and it's a fucking health issue. It's not just an isolated incident or anything. It's been something that has affected worldwide. You know what I mean? So like, and especially now, especially in Roman's case with him being immunocompromised, that was a no-brainer. Like, he should have absolutely not been coming regardless. And I applaud him for, doing what he did and choosing that path to not come in. So it's hard to say what's going to happen, but I wouldn't put it past WWE to quote unquote punish Sammy or Kevin, because they've done shit like this in the past. And it'd be fucked up if they do, but I wouldn't put it past them. And real quick, because I am gonna be going here in a minute to set up for a stream. I know you guys probably didn't get to it, and that's probably the last thing that you guys want to talk about, before you end the podcast and stuff. But I'll just say on this note, Ransom, I'm with you on your views of the whole keep it in your pants thing. So there you go.
Yeah, man, keep your dick to yourself. What the hell's the problem?
Yeah, but hey, on that note, guys, I'm gonna head out. And you guys have a good rest of the podcast, and I look forward to listening to the episode here once it gets up and running.
Yeah, man, Tom,
right,
good
buddy,
having you
thanks for
around,
joining.
buddy.
Yeah, thanks for joining, Tiger.
Yeah, I will try to stop back in more often. Shit's been crazy busy on the page.
What are you streaming tonight?
I am playing more of The Last of Us Part 2. It is a fucking banger of a game. If anybody has a PS4 and you played the first one, you need to play the second one. It's a masterpiece already. And
Get on
I'm not
that
even
shit.
finished. Yep. All right, guys. I'll catch you guys around the way.
All right, bye,
See you,
buddy.
pal.
Later.
All right, so now that he's gone, I can actually talk for a second.
Oh, I know. Poor you. Never get to talk on the Beef Podcast.
J fucking K. I'm just trying to fucking needle at Tom because I know he'll probably hear it. So, what the fuck was he saying? Oh fuck. What the fuck were we talking
about the COVID? People leaving or not coming to work because of the COVID?
I've been on record saying that I think that Reigns is gonna have a ding against him for this.
Really?
Yeah. I mean, they've been so fucking wishy-washy with Reigns his whole fucking career, on again, off again. This is fucking Ross and Rachel in 2020. Like, will they or won't they? I don't know. And at this point, I don't fucking care. I like Roman Reigns. I think he's a great act. I think he's a great guy to have as your lead guy. But they gotta fucking commit. And this is giving them an interesting fucking pathway to go. Oh, you know what? Maybe not. So, Sammy and Kevin, I don't know. Kevin, not so much. Sammy, probably. Sammy has been on, while under contract to WWE, has, been seen on a Being the Elite episode. He mentioned AEW on national programming. To be fair, though, Adam Cole was on Being the Elite as well. Sammy has a lot of ties to a lot of guys. And Vince, I don't think, cares too highly for Sammy. Kevin, though, I think that they understand that Kevin, much like Adam Cole, is a golden goose. And that they don't really want to, do too much with him. As far as pissing him off. So I think that's why they tolerate Sammy.
Those guys have always, obviously, if you look at their careers, there's clear parallels between the two, stylistically, career arc-wise, roughly. But, do you think that the difference, because they're both good on the stick, they're both amazing in the ring. For example, just cherry picking within the confines of WWE's ecosystem. You have Sami Zayn taking on Shinsuke Nakamura. That match was wildly great, and they didn't phone it in with Nakamura. They gave him to Zayn because it was Zayn's goodbye, Nakamura's hello, and they knew that both of them could work a match that was a barn burner, and they delivered. And, Kevin Owens, even recently, and say what you want about it, but his match with Seth Rollins at WrestleMania, slow burn at the beginning, turned out to be a really fun, great match. We lauded it, as a matter of fact. But do you think that the big difference between the two is their look? Kevin Owens, although still a heavier dude, looks like a guy who means business and walks into a ring and just beats the snot out of people. Sami Zayn, because of his demeanor, and he's always had a little more of a tinge of the comedy wrestling than Owens did.
Yep.
But that doesn't mean
he was fucking
El
El Generico, so yeah, for sure.
So, but that's my point, is that I think because there is that vein of comedy wrestler in Sami Zayn, and his look compared to Kevin Owens, he's not taken seriously by Vince.
I can see that.
Like I said, man, I feel like Vince tolerates Sammy because he knows how fucking good Kevin Owens is, and you don't want to fucking burn that bridge. So
do you think that that's a reason why they potentially haven't shit-canned Sami Zayn, because it would piss off Kevin Owens enough to leave? You think Kevin Owens would leave? Yep. Really?
Yep. I do. I think that he would throw a shit fit and be like, you know what? Fuck this.
Wow.
Very, very,
I
very,
mean,
very CM Punk-ish.
They did a really good job of making those two, feud and break that all up and everything like that. But those guys are the best of friends, and
Yeah,
Kevin,
they're family.
Kevin Kevin Owens, and I think Sami Zayn would do it, but more so Kevin Owens will die on a hill. He
Oh, yeah.
absolutely
He seems like the kind of guy that would do that. Yeah.
Yep. So I want to change lanes here a minute, and let's talk about the Extreme Rules, the horror show coming up.
Okay. Do we have to? Because this is just gonna be a shit show.
We absolutely have to.
Okay.
First of all, calling it the horror show is funny because Americans can't really say horror; they kind of say whore, so it sounds like the horror show, which is funny.
Hoors.
But that notwithstanding, this is like gimmick to hell and back, and I realize that it's Extreme Rules and that's the gimmick. But you have Wyatt and Strowman in a Swamp Wizard fight in the fucking swamp, like straight out of WWE 2K20. So
no, that's a cinematic one, I'm assuming, right?
Yes. Well,
okay.
and I mean, so the other one that I want to fucking draw attention to is Rey Mysterio versus Seth Rollins in an eye for an eye match. So the rules for the eye for an eye match is that you have to pluck your opponent's eye from their head. I don't know if it's like Kill Bill style where you have to do the eye pluck, or if you can just jab it out with an instrument like the steel steps, like Rollins did with Mysterio.
What's the over under on this being a cinematic match?
Oh, it has to be. I mean, unless they're gonna have somebody actually pull somebody else's eye out of their head,
Look, so. I'm gonna lay this out.
So we're getting two cinematic matches out of this event.
At least.
I'm gonna lay this out plain. It is gonna go one of two ways. Either Seth Rollins is going to have to kayfabe the ever-loving dicks out of this injury, or presumed injury, that he's gonna have with his eye being pulled out of his head and wearing a fucking decorative, the eye patch and wrestle, the rest of his career in WWE, arguably, with no depth perception. Or Ray's going to get his other eye taken, and it's going to be the way Rey Mysterio's career ends. Like, it's going to be
That seems to be the prevailing opinion,
the
latter.
And I mean,
what a shitty way to end a career.
Yeah, especially one as prolific as Rey Mysterio's. You know what I mean?
I don't get a boner for Rey Mysterio, but he deserves a lot better than that.
Oh my God, absolutely. And that's
the greatest luchador of all time.
That's arguable, but I would definitely say he's more than in the conversation. So here's my point: is that even if the cinematic match in a bubble is entertaining, there's no good way for this to end. There's no good way for this to end.
I am so on board with this. Like, this absolutely delivers the jollies to me because of how fucking ridiculous it is. I loved the last cinematic pairing with the Viking Raiders and the Street Profits. I thought that was a fucking masterpiece. And it got very, very ridiculous there for a long time. And I think that the Stadium Series match did a wonderful job of that too. Like, it got very ridiculous in and of itself. So while I think that there are places in wrestling for stuff like the Boneyard match, which is kind of campy but enjoyable, like... Yep. Cinematic matches, I think. So this is 100% like them going, hey, we got a great thing going. Let's fucking quadruple down on it. Yeah, this is so bad. Like, this is when you say to your buddies, hey, man, this horror movie is the absolute worst thing I've ever seen. We have to watch it. Like, this has turned the corner of being, like, irrevocably bad to, like, I have to watch. Like, I can't not watch now. A very otherwise missable event is now something that I'm going to be like, you know what? I want to see how they fucking get out of this. So, as crazy as it is, like, I'm here for it. Like, but we have to acknowledge that, like, this is a road that if they go down, they cannot then go back up 3 months from now, or 6 months from now, or 12 months from now when there are people in seats. Like,
they absolutely can.
No, they will, but they shouldn't.
They can. Let me harken back. Kane. This has Kane written all over it.
The voice box?
He had the voice box.
Yep.
Suddenly, he doesn't have the voice box. And he's doing impersonations of The Rock and Hulk Hogan when he's tagging with them. He's brothering it up and hulking out. And he's, it doesn't matter what your name is to The Rock. And then after years and years and years of, he was burned in a fire by The Undertaker. He was deformed. His flesh is melted. Yeah. Mask is off. And he's a normal guy with a weird haircut, no eyebrows, and a funky contact lens.
Yeah, but they
absolutely can walk back on it.
They at least had the out of, it was mental scarring, it was mental burns, it was all mental scarring. They had that very weak, shitty out. But like with this, you can't undo this. There's no eye transplant.
I'm not talking about that. So I'm talking about the camp. Like, once you jump the shark, and this is what this is, they are committing, they're fucking, like, whiskey throttling the hell out of this jet ski. Like, once you introduce this level of camp, you have to realize that this is now canon. That this is now part of what you are. If crowds get back into arenas and it's business as usual and they stop all this shit, then I will have lost every piece of respect I have for Vince McMahon, for the show. Because once you commit to something like this, it is a one-way street to Campville. And if you want to add it in, I'm all for it, because we've talked about it before, that there's room in wrestling for some schlock, for some stick, for some stupid fucking campiness. So, like, to me, here's how I see this going, and I would love it if it went this way, where Ray wins and takes Seth Rollins' eye. Seth Rollins wears an eye patch. Okay, Seth Rollins wears an eye patch for a while, and then he fucking realizes that he's the Monday Night Messiah, and he heals himself.
Oh, no.
Like,
man, I'm not in on that. Like, fucking
great is that? No,
not okay. That's not
fucking
okay.
whiskey throttle. They're whiskey throttling, man. Like, this is it. They are jumping those damn sharks. They got their fucking leather jacket on and swim trunks, and they're going, hey, this is it, man. So I think that that's the only road back, because you can't take Rey Mysterio's other eye. You can't. Because
what do you mean his other eye? What's happened?
Seth Rollins stomped his, or I don't think he stomped it, but he basically blinded him in one eye by putting his eye against a ring step and, like, puncturing it.
Oh,
and
fantastic.
It was grotesque.
All right, so that's how they set this up. Okay.
Right, Ray has been wearing a mask with, like, a black eye patch on it, which makes sense because he's a fucking luchador. Like, we can't see his eye anyway. He's probably in there looking. With Seth Rollins, an eye patch is not going to work. Ask fucking Jon Moxley how that worked for him. So yeah, I mean, like that, like I said, man, like go all in. Have the fucking Monday Night Messiah heal himself and, like, grand.
So look, I know I'm going to get Cornette heat from this, from one or both of you. I know I will. But there's no way for me to really say this without sounding like Cornette, but I'm really not trying to. I get that this is fiction. Like, I get it. I know that there's no such thing as kayfabe anymore. I understand that. But I have a little bit of a problem with the legality of this. So I understand it's sports entertainment and it's fiction. So like I'm teeter-tottering on this. I'm teeter-tottering. I get that it's fiction and sports entertainment. Yes. Kayfabe is dead. Yes. But this is essentially saying like it's legal to take someone's limb. So this match is no different than a chainsaw on a pole match, where the only way to win is to get the chainsaw down and cut off your opponent's arm or leg or head. Well, head is different because that's murder, but it's still maiming. Like,
you mean like, say, having somebody having to light somebody on fire to win a match?
Yeah, but that, to me, I can't stop this from being Cornette-ish. I can't. That's more believable because the dude had he didn't light his bare arm on fire. He didn't get his entire body engulfed in flames. It was a section of his arm. It was still, covered in ring attire. He didn't lose an arm. This is, you're pulling somebody's eye out. You're pulling out an eye. You're taking a limb from somebody. This is a little over the top for me. I'm all for over the top when it's funny. Like, the backyard brawl, the backlot brawl or whatever, where the ninjas came out, that was all funny. I can handle funny. I'm fine with that. I thought that was a great, hilarious match. But you're taking somebody's eyeball. You're taking a limb from somebody. I think we've crossed over into the over the top. Like, okay, what's happening here? What's going on? Is that not? Am I completely off base with that?
Nope, that's what I'm saying, man. Like, once they cross this threshold, you have to admit, like, they have to. The business has to change, or at least the WWE has to change and admit that this kind of fucking absurdity is part of your DNA.
Yeah. Like, this goes beyond kayfabe for me. Like, beyond, the realm of disbelief. Like, we all accept that portion of disbelief in wrestling. Like, guys getting tossed off of a roof during a ladder match. Like, yes, nobody was murdered in that match. We know that. But this is, I feel like the hokiness of this has crossed a line. Like, we're crossing a line here.
Mm-hmm.
To where you're not sports entertainment anymore. This is Jerry Springer. Like, you've crossed the line from sports entertainment into ridiculousness. That's no different than you legitimately having a cinematic match where somebody comes out and has a lightsaber and strikes somebody down and they disappear only to come back stronger than before. It's too much for me. Like, it's too much.
Well, like I said,
maybe
man,
I'm completely off base with this. Maybe I don't understand it. Maybe I don't get it. But I can't with this. With this eye for an eye match where you're legitimately supposed to believe that somebody's ripping somebody else's eyeball out. I can't do this.
Well, and like that's why I brought up the whole like the fucking vernacular of the jump the shark. That's like when Happy Days became unbelievable. If you can fucking say that sentence without fucking laughing. But like that was the tipping point that like people would base like absurdities and ridiculousnesses of in TV shows for years to come. Like that is the fucking measuring stick. So, like, this is 100% like, something that they absolutely have to commit to, one way or the other. Because if they don't, what happens? Like, if let's say that they have some sort of fucking like weird fucking dusty finish here, which I don't know how they would do. But I'm sure that there's fucking somebody that's, out there saying, hey, there's got to be a way that we can get out of this. Like, what does that do to their fucking integrity? Like,
when you're putting on a match where you're saying one of these guys has to take a limb from another person to win the match, I think all integrity has gone out the door at that point. Really, I do.
You ain't wrong.
You have gone completely away from wrestling / sports entertainment. Oh, you are so far off the rail. Like, it's something completely different now. When you're taking limbs from somebody, what's next? When you cross that line, what's next? I mean, what other ridiculous shit can we come up with now?
Well, it's gonna go.
We had a wrestler take another wrestler's eye.
You know what?
What's next?
You know what territory they cross into, and if you can still get it on streaming platforms, they're going to go into Lucha Underground territory where they start just flat out killing people.
Yep.
Yeah. And like, is that next? Like, murder mayhem match. It's a murder mayhem match. The only way to win is to murder your opponent. Shotgun on a pole match. You have to blow them away. What's happening?
I feel like it's by dint of the nature of the world and the nature of the way they have to run their business. You see the cinematic matches. I mean, why did the Good Brothers have putties during the graveyard match or the yard match? Why was there an actual what's the name of the thing that was in the dumpster?
I don't remember
the actual canonical name for that thing. Why was there a tentacle beast?
The Star Wars thing
chasing the Viking prophets. You know what I mean? Like,
so I can accept that more because of what that match was. You had somebody using the Force to bring a chicken leg, a turkey leg, to their hand. Ninjas showed up. It was meant to be a comedy thing, and in that scope of in that world, I can accept all that. Oh, I beg pardon. If this was meant to be a match that was jokey and silly and funny, I can accept that. And maybe that's a contradiction from what I said before, but I can get on board with that. I hate that term.
I mean,
but I can accept that.
You're a connoisseur of you're a connoisseur of horror movies, yeah? Like you
yes.
You are not.
I've seen my fair share, yeah.
Okay, so to me, that's what this is, man. Like, this is your, their take on it being a horror movie. The name even implies that it's going to be a horror show. So, I don't know, man. Like, I hear what you're saying, that this is 100% like crossing the fucking bridge, and that's what I'm saying. Like, they have to make this part of their fucking DNA going forward. They have to admit that, that this is something that they are and something that they have. But I mean, I believe that, and again, I'll say it again, that wrestling has a place, that all genres have a place in wrestling. That, there's room for just about anything, with the exception of necrophilia, Kane / Katie Vick. Like, that was in poor taste and very, 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 very badly done. But I think that, and this is going to sound weird, so stick with me here, but if this is well done to the point of being like a bad horror movie, if if it has that vibe and they do it well, I think it's acceptable.
I don't want to argue with you on this, but I kind of do a little bit. I don't see how, if you're going to say, okay, you can incorporate all genres into wrestling, I don't see how you can say an eye for an eye match is okay, where you're plucking somebody's eye from their socket. That's cool. But the Katie Vick storyline, no, like that's not cool.
Well, so
I believe that you have to. Yeah, well, bad taste, yes. Not okay to do. I think if you're going to go this route and say that this is acceptable, then I think anything's acceptable.
I mean,
murder, yes. Dismemberment, yes. Necrophilia, yes. Might they be in bad taste? Yes. But acceptable in, incorporating all genres? Okay. If we want to go that route, then it's all genres. I mean, you think of some horror movies where necrophilia was a thing. Well.
I know. No, I hear you. I don't know, man. Like, this is so, like, this is 100% theater of the absurd. Like, this is 100% absolutely unbelievable. Like, no one in their right mind is going to believe that somebody's eye is going to get plucked out here. And it would shock me if there wasn't some sort of a warning in place before the match. That's like, hey, kids, don't fucking try this at home. Because I think that's honestly, if I have any problem with the whole fucking thing, it's that. Like, calling themselves family entertainment. How do you
have a PG rating?
Right. Holding yourselves to a higher standard. Like, they, I think Vince said something about AEW going blue and, like, using the word, like, shit all the time and things like that. Like, that was a fucking conference call. He was like, hey, we don't need to do that. And now here you are having a fucking match where somebody's eyes are going to get plucked out. Like,
yeah. You can't swear on your show, right. But dismemberment, we're cool with that. That's
fine. A bad look. Like, that's for sure a bad look. And like I said, but I mean, like, this, it's going to be so bad, I think it's going to be good. And I know that those are usually the ones that you're not on board with, are the ones that are going to be, like, so not so good. Like, that they're going to be such a stinker that you can't help but watch. But and they may have some creative way out of this. I don't know. I respect Rey Mysterio even more now for fucking putting himself through this fucking shill for his son. Because this is basically him doing this to ensure that his son gets a fair shake, so that Dominic has a future with WWE.
See, this is all just a rub, because at the end of the match, we're either going to get Seth Rollins or Rey Mysterio. It's an eye for an eye match.
Oh, no.
Why are you the way that you are?
Oh, I could go on for that. That's a whole episode in of itself.
I have to think that some of these other wrestling companies, like AEW, even Impact, see this match advertised like legit eye for an eye match. I don't know how they don't sit back and go, what the fuck are they doing? Like, what is WWE doing? You know what I mean? Like, I don't know how Tony Khan and Cody Rhodes don't look at each other and go, what? What?
I think that there are people in WWE that are going, we're doing what now? Like, is this something that's happening? Are you really? Is this for real? This isn't just a fucking rub. Yeah, I mean,
I would love to have been a fly on the wall in that conference room when Vince McMahon said, "Okay, this is the match we're going to have." We're going to have an eye for an eye match, and the only way to win is to pull somebody's eye out of their socket.
Yep.
I don't know how there wasn't mass protests to that or just stunned silence. You know, like when you look at guys who understand the wrestling business, like Triple H, say what you will about Triple H. The dude knows the wrestling business.
Mm-hmm.
How his skin didn't turn white with horror when no pun intended, when Vince McMahon said, this is what we're going to do. Okay. Triple H, HBK, Road Dogg, all like the three of those guys. I don't know how they didn't come out of that meeting, look at each other going, what company do we work for? Like, what's happening? When did Vince McMahon become Rob Zombie?
Oh, did I Matrix or did I some Matrix? Oh, there he is.
What's next? Are we gonna have a Freddy Krueger versus Jason match, where the only way to win is to kill your opponent and send them to hell?
Well, I mean, they already did that whenever Shawn Michaels and God tagged against Vince McMahon. He sent himself straight to hell with that one.
That's what I'm saying. Like, this shit has been in wrestling for a long. Like, okay, the model when he sprayed the arrogance in Jake's eyes, blinding him. Like that's not quite the same as plucking somebody's eye out, but it's of the same fucking vein. Like it's in the same ballpark. It's definitely the same sport.
It's in the same sport. I don't know if I would even say the same ballpark, because it's always the assumption with any kind of blinding gimmick that's been done numerous times over the years. The person is either not as bad as they say, or anything like that. This is permanent physical maiming.
I forgot. I think I blocked it out of my memory. I forgot about the Shawn Michaels and God versus the McMahon's match. So, yeah,
so I'm saying, we've had theater of the absurd before. This is just another fucking tale of it. This is a little bit more gruesome, but whenever you have a show called The Horror Show, like you ain't gonna fuck around. And here's the kicker. I don't know that this will be like the most ridiculous part of the night. I think the Wyatt Swamp Compound match will absolutely be crazy and like ridiculous and like just unbelievable.
So let me ask you on that. Is it Bray Wyatt or is it the Fiend?
This is the Swamp Wizard, Bray Wyatt.
Oh, so it's not Sweater Vest Bray Wyatt. It's not the Fiend. It's old school. Follow me. Follow the buzzards.
Run.
You got
Bray
it.
Wyatt.
Yep.
Okay.
It's got kind of the Faces of Foley thing going on, which who better than fucking Bray Wyatt to do that?
Not mad about it. Not mad about this at all. I love that he has all these personalities to draw upon.
But it's gonna get fucking wonky. I guarantee that the fucking Wyatt Swamp match is going to be absolutely outlandish.
It's a lot of plates to keep spinning. It's a lot.
It's gonna be crazy. And so like I'm thinking akin to like the what was it? The Fiend, the John Cena match at WrestleMania, the Firefly Funhouse match. That's kind of what I'm picturing as a possibility for this Strowman Wyatt match. So I think that's going to be absolutely ridiculous in and of its own right. I could be wrong, but like that to me is going to be the one that everybody's like, all in arms about and like talking about and everything. I don't know, man. Like it. So, like I said, this took something that was a missable show for me. I had no interest in watching Extreme Rules, and has made it to something where I'm like, you know what? Fuck it. Let's see what they do. I want to see how they fucking get out of it. So
which one do you think is going to be worse? Like which one's going to make you? Which one do you envision making you go? I can't believe I watched that. Or do you think both are going to be good?
I'm gonna love them both probably because, like I said, I am very much a theater of the absurd kind of guy. So like again, if they do it well, the Rollins Mysterio thing, if they do it well and make it like a fucking like B horror flick, then yeah, I think it could be passable. Yeah, I think that you're going to have a problem with the with the Swamp Compound match more.
Really?
I do, because I think it's going to get like crazy, like the Firefly Funhouse match did. And yeah, I mean, like I said, the ending of the ending of the Rollins Mysterio match is going to be like fucking weird. Seeing somebody like lose fucking vision, but you don't throw this out there without having an out. You know, like you don't suggest something like this unless you got a fucking plan in place. You know.
Yeah. Now.
So to me, I think that Vince has an idea, and good or bad, we're gonna see it come to fruition.
Now, I might not initially like the eye for an eye match, but I'd be more akin to accepting it if it did pan out like you said, Beef, where Rollins loses his eye, he wears an eye patch for a couple weeks, and then as the storyline goes, as the Monday Night Messiah, he performs a miracle and heals himself.
The amount of fucking controversy that will come from that is going to be astounding.
Worse than Shawn Michaels and God.
Yeah, no, not at all, Poot. I think.
I just because listen, that was framed within the confines of Vince McMahon clearly being an absolute degenerate beyond belief and being sarcastic, and Shawn Michaels, like, it was an underdog story at that point. I'm not trying to belittle anyone here. Listen, I go to church every Sunday. Like, it's, but my point is, that is a villain piss-taking someone and putting their employee in a handicap match versus someone performing a literal fuck you miracle. Like, Man, I understand we suspend disbelief and we would all sit there and go, oh, what a cop-out. Good for them. But still, it's in really, really, really poor taste.
I mean...
See, I thought it was in poor taste with the... Oh, hang on. Ooh, had to hydrate. I thought it was a super poor taste with the Shawn Michaels Shawn Michaels and God match. If they just would have done... Like, if it just would have been like, okay, Shawn Michaels and God, and it turns out to be just a handicap match, fine. But they literally had Vince McMahon in a church cutting a promo on God. And not only that, they had a spotlight imitating God, making his way to the ring.
Mm-hmm.
I feel like...
Entrance music and all.
Yeah, I feel like that crossed more of a line, and again, this is just me. I feel like that crossed more of a line than, Seth Rollins saying, I healed myself. Look what I did. I performed a miracle and I healed myself. I think they're both in very bad taste. But I don't know. I don't know how you top having entrance music for God and having a light coming down to the ring imitating God.
See,
I don't know. I think they're both bad.
I thought, no, you know what I thought was in worst taste was whenever he went into that church and did basically a pinhead move. Like, yeah. Like on that, that was bad too. That segment was worse.
Yeah, I mean, well,
But
that was definitely bad.
he realized he could make that call and have that storyline during the time when he did, because WWE was still considered so offensive and outrageous that it caught a little bit of traction, but I feel like, and maybe it's just me being a fucking snowflake, you know what I mean? But like
I don't think that.
To me,
no, I don't.
No, not you. I mean, but to me, this is just one of those things that I'm like, if they run with it, and they don't then frame it with Seth Rollins going, Ray, you can't hurt me. You didn't pull my eye. It was all a ruse. If they actually frame it as I performed a miracle and run with it, that's in bad taste.
I don't know how...
It's almost as bad as
have...
anything Joel Osteen has ever done in his life. Fight me.
Whew. Man, that's... Yikes, that's up there. But I don't honestly see any other way out of it. Because I kind of think like what Beef said, if Seth Rollins comes out and goes, you didn't actually pull my eye out. That was a fake eye. I got you on that one. Like, that's...
Yeah.
I think that's super stupid.
Terrible.
And yeah, I don't know what is gained by that. I think that's dumb. Not saying that any of this is going to be good, mind you, but
if you have a barbed wire flaming table match and the barbed wire flaming table does not come into play, it's a fucking dick move. Like,
yeah. But I don't see any other way out of it other than
somebody has to get their eye ripped out.
Well, yeah, and like you said, Beef, if he performs a miracle as the Monday Night Messiah and heals himself, that's the only legit thing that I can see them doing as a way out of this. Because Seth Rollins isn't going to wrestle for the rest of his career with an eye patch. They can't just go, well, we had that eye for an eye match, but it didn't actually happen. Forget about it. Like, they can't NWO that. And if they pull out Rey Mysterio's eye, what then? Like, is it... He's either done, and like that's it. Like, he lost this match. That's his retirement. What a shitty retirement that would be for him. Or what? They just pretend that he's wrestling now with a glass eye. I guess that's another thing they could do. Like, oh well, Seth Rollins either got a glass eye or Rey Mysterio got a glass eye.
Fucking
they don't have to wrestle with an eye patch on. They gotta.
Have Rey Mysterio be fucking Daredevil, walk out with a fucking braille cane, or not a braille cane, but a fucking like walking cane. Like, have
the black mesh over both, over both eye things. I mean, he can legit see out of it, but like, that's the story. He's blind, but his other senses are heightened. They're heightened, and now he can wrestle.
They need to go the full fucking Monty here, man. And if they're gonna do it the whole way. Have Seth Rollins heal himself magically, or have fucking Rey Mysterio wrestle as Daredevil. Like, just do something that's going to be over the top and outlandish, and even if like that's the end of it, okay, that's fine, because that's still a chapter that happened. But you can't then like I guess my point is that you can't have this happen and then like 3 months from now pretend that
you can't go back on
sports. Right, yeah, we are sports entertainment. We are family-friendly company. Like, no, you are going down a path that is going to separate you, and that is going to absolutely get some detritus coming your way. Guys like Cornette are going to have a field day if he's not already.
He's going to lose his ever-loving mind. Yeah. But that's a good point, though. I could see them making a superhero gimmick out of it for Rey Mysterio. Mm-hmm. Like, he's now a superhero, and he has no eyesight, but he's still flipping and flying and 619ing and doing all this shit. Oh boy, I think it's going to be a disaster.
I'm there for every minute of it, man. Because either way, so best case scenario is it plays out like the whole thing plays out like a fucking bad B movie, and it's wonderfully awful in its camp. I'm talking like Evil Dead 2 here. Or we get to watch this fucking product that we've been waylaying for the last year and a half circle the drain, man. Like, absolutely hit its lowest point since Katie Vick. So Either way, like I'm gaining a perverse sense of pleasure from it, one way or the other. I'll say that.
Well,
And like I said, at the end of the day, this is doing exactly what the greatest match of all time ever did. It is getting me to tune into a pay-per-view that I probably honestly would have passed on, just to see the fucking carnage.
And I imagine that probably that's the same with, definitely a few people who, haven't been really interested in Raw or SmackDown, but are going to go, okay, how are they going to pull this off? I got to watch it.
When is Extreme Rules?
Next Sunday.
So next week we're going to have our picks.
Yep.
Yes.
Oh boy.
Now, is the Mud House, the Mud Swamp Wizard match, is that for the title?
No.
No.
Nope, non-title.
It's on principle.
All right, so Braun Strowman's in a non-title match.
I feel...
Yep.
Okay, real quick before we wrap this up, because
why
we are long in the tooth, okay?
Oh, there it is.
I got to throw that out. I apologize for cutting you off, but this isn't official picks, but just for your thing. If Bray Wyatt doesn't win this, right? You know where I'm going with this.
Yeah.
What then?
I think we're going to see a very similar to the way that it played out with him and Cena in the Firefly Funhouse match. I don't think you're going to see anybody's shoulder get counted to 3. No one's going to be tapping out. I think that the win for Wyatt is going to come whenever Strowman has a mental breakdown, only to then, I'm here, the fucking Fiend shows up, and we cut to black. Like, setting up Strowman versus the Fiend at SummerSlam. Like, that's the only way that the match, I think, can end and can go.
All right, so is what you're saying is you don't foresee there being an actual winner of that match? Like you see like the end being some fuckery.
Right, or like Braun Strowman feeding Bray Wyatt to like Braun Strowman feeding Bray Wyatt to an alligator or something, and then the Fiend coming back and dun dun dun.
Okay. What is
that's what I'm saying?
Like, does that have to be
next Sunday night's gonna get weird.
So what's the stipulation on the Swamp Wizard match? Is it a pinfall? Is it a submission, or there's just nothing? It's just this is a swamp match.
I don't think we know.
Just get on board and ride away.
Same as the Firefly Funhouse match, man. I don't think we know.
Huh.
Like I said,
I really wasn't going to watch this pay-per-view, but now I definitely have to.
What a fucking shit show the wrestling world is right now.
Listen, you play
it's a hot mess.
You play to your strengths, all right? AEW can have the absolute best tag team wrestling in the world, and that's going to carry them, okay? The 8-man tag team match last night at Fyter Fest was absolutely the match of the last 2 weeks. Absolutely. Your NXT, you have amazing matches with basically everybody, but especially the women can steal the show. When you're WWE, you know that you don't have time for all that fucking fluff and actual wrestling matches. So what are you going to do? You're going to put out entertainment. So this is playing to their strength, man. And like I said, it could be good.
Oh, the COVID.
Could be good. No,
are there any title matches at this event?
Yes. Drew is facing Dolph for the WWE title in a to be determined match.
You can tell how that's going to end.
Right. Sasha's facing Asuka for the Raw title. Bayley's facing Nikki Cross for the SmackDown title. Bobby Lashley's facing Apollo Crews for the U.S. title.
Oh.
And that's what we know.
Kind of is, yeah.
I mean,
it's a middle-of-the-road pay-per-view at best. I mean...
I'm intrigued by the two women's matches. I think that the two women's matches will be above the fucking line. I think the Swamp fight will be fun. And I like I said, I am strapped in fucking front of the line for the eye for an eye fight, man, because either way it's gonna be absolutely insane. So I think that it'll be a pay-per-view worth watching.
Well, we'll have to see. Real quick, Beef, do we have any Stump the Champers?
We actually don't. I chalked that up to our summer break there the last couple of weeks. So everybody's doing their own thing. So the Maniac's probably doing his own thing. But damn it, Maniac, you've let us down. How dare you? Real quick, I will plug the IWC show. Again, if you have not seen the Back in Business show, which was scheduled for Saturday at court time, is not going to be there. It is going to be at that drive-in that Tom mentioned that I don't have fucking up right now. Brownsville, the Brownsville drive-in. It'll be a fun show, man. Just, be smart, social distance, wear your fucking masks.
Thanks, Mom.
Hey, fucking, just do it.
We appreciate you,
that's
Mama Beef, looking out for us.
Next Saturday, go check them out. I believe it's at 1 p.m. bell time, so nice middle of the day show for you. And then continue to check out Tiger Bomb. He's streaming The Last of Us Part 2 right now, so that's a great game. He's a great streamer. Go give him some love, share, like, comment, edit, love, hack, whatever you do. Just go appreciate the majesty of Mr. Casual Gaming Dad.
So I have to ask two questions here real quick, and then we'll wrap up.
Always with the questions with you.
It's like right at the end we're wrapping up, and that's like, hey, I got two questions, real quick.
Yeah, right.
That's all right, but lay them on us, big boy.
Strap in for another half hour. Did I read somewhere where they're planning on having a crowd for SummerSlam?
I'm sorry, you cut out there. What they're planning on what for SummerSlam?
Sorry. Did I read somewhere where they're planning on having a crowd for SummerSlam? Or is that just speculation?
So they were planning on being in Boston and having a crowd for SummerSlam, but that has not, from what I've read, it is officially at the Performance Center. So I assume that they'll continue to do what they have been doing, which is, pull in the Performance Center people and have them.
Okay, so that's not going to be in front of a legit crowd then.
Correct.
All right.
So
and two, I have to ask this because why? As absurd as those other two matches might be at the Extreme House of Horror show, why on earth are you booking Drew McIntyre versus Dolph Ziggler when everybody in the damn world knows full well that Dolph Ziggler has zero chances of winning that match? Of all the people to put in a program with Drew McIntyre, why Dolph Ziggler? You know he is not going to come anywhere near that title.
Well, because number one, fucking whatever Dolph's weird agreement with WWE is and him getting paid in matches, whatever the fuck. And number two, Dolph and Drew know and like each other. So you're going to get a really good match. I really believe that. As long as they don't book it as long as they don't book it as a fucking single kick knockout, whatever the fuck.
Yeah. Ding, Claymore kick over. Oh, look, Lesnar 2.0. I agree with you, Poot, that they could put on a hell of a show, but it takes me back to why. Nobody believes that Dolph Ziggler is going to win this title, and legitimately, Dolph Ziggler has zero chance of winning this title. Look at what they've done with him. It doesn't make any sense to me to put those two in a title match.
Because
it's going to be a
who
good
else are you
match.
going to have?
But why a
who,
title
else?
match?
Who else are you going to have?
He's got
what other
nobody
heels,
to work with.
What other heels are on Raw right now?
Oh, I don't know. I haven't been watching Raw.
Nobody has, because there's no fucking heels. There's really nobody. Like, Raw is literally a skeleton crew. You know, you had him beat Lashley, so that's kind of off the table. You know, and if he beat Lashley, there's really no reason to have him face Andrade or Angel Garza or any of those guys because, you know, clearly the eye test says that they don't stand a chance.
Well, the same eye test, I think, would apply to Dolph Ziggler.
Well, but Dolph Ziggler...
He's not going to win.
Dolph Ziggler has gotten by on his cunning before. So, like...
what show is Orton on?
SmackDown.
Yes.
Is he SmackDown? Okay,
Allegedly.
Well, never mind.
But word is that he's getting moved over to Raw so he can feud with McIntyre for SummerSlam because Brock don't work no fucking empty houses.
I could see them putting the belt on McIntyre, or not on McIntyre, on Orton. I don't think it'll happen, but I could see them fucking doing it.
That's a lot more believable. When I watch that match, I look at it and go, okay, Orton versus McIntyre. Orton could walk away with that title. Sure, he's Randy freaking Orton. But Dolph Ziggler, who has lost to damn near everybody, I don't care how much you set it up with Drew McIntyre's old three-man band guy, and you know you're playing mind games with him. It's the whole Kurt Angle versus Shawn Michaels thing again. You know, where Kurt Angle brought back Marty Jannetty and beat the tar out of him, and Sensational Sherry beat the tar out of her. At least Shawn Michaels versus Kurt Angle, you could look at that match and go, I have no idea who's going to win. It's going to be a barn burner, but I don't know who's going to win that match. It's a toss-up. There's no toss-up here. I mean, really, there isn't. Look at what they've done with Ziggler. No one's going to go into that match expecting Ziggler to win. No one. And I can't see them pulling a swerve where it's like, oh, no one believes Ziggler's going to win. Guess what? Ziggler's going to win. It's like Vince has something against this man where he will not put a belt on him. Am I gone?
No, you're good. You're just you're matrixing real bad. So I believe that Ziggler is a credible main eventer, and that's why they're bringing him in to feud with McIntyre, which is fine. It's because like Poot said, it's a B show pay-per-view. Like you're not going to get your marquee matches on this, so you know, we'll see.
So it's a throwaway title match, you know,
right,
essentially.
Right.
Okay. All right. Yeah, I'm fine with that then.
Pootsky, take us home.
All right, ladies and gentlemen, we want to thank Mr. Casual Gaming Dad himself, and especially for his appearance tonight, Mr. Tiger.
Tripod bomb.
Tom,
Dickinson,
I
what do you
guess.
want?
I don't. There we go. Mr. Tiger Bomb Tom and his page, Casual Gaming Dad, over on Facebook. Check out that, and also check out Casual Gaming Dad's Corner. And you can catch him on YouTube and Twitch as well. Just search Casual Gaming Dad 84 there. Also, Mr. Sean Tischler, if you do listen to our podcast, which I hope you do, thank you for your work with IWC in Clearfield, and hopefully we can get that back here in this area as well with them up and running. And again, just to appease the gods, and by the gods I mean Mama Beef over there, if you're going out to the IWC event that's going to be down Western PA yonder, make sure that you wear a mask and you stay safe and you practice proper social distancing. Whether you believe in it or not, just it's better to be safe than sorry. Am I right? Also, we want to thank Gould Gaming for allowing us to have the Pittsburgh Piledriver podcast t-shirt on Casual Gaming Dad's page. Links will be in the description for that, where you can go and get our t-shirt. Also, you can pick up a lot of merch from Mr. Casual Gaming Dad himself. He has a lot of cool merch, so check it out. Reasonably priced, too. That's the most important thing. For Mr. Tiger Bomb Tom, Mr. Beef the Legend, Mr. Alec Ransom, and myself.
Am I still the Chooseway champion?
You are. I was
Boy,
going.
I lost track of that.
You completely cut me off. I was going to go myself, the advocate for the reigning, defending, undisputed Chooserweight champion. Again, he deserves 2 introductions. Mr. Alec Ransom. I am Poot the Bard, baby. Have a wonderful evening, night, day, whenever you're listening to this. Oh, it's good to be back.
I'm just here doing the neutron dance. I'm just here doing the neutron dance.